We're back, folks. Over 4 years into the Grin Grappler journey, I'm thrilled to say we still got a lot left in the tank. We have got stiff competition tonight, though. Dark Side of the Ring TNA is airing right now. We need to be on our A game, fellas, because even I'm kind of looking at it going, maybe I should watch that. You know, so this is a tough one. We've been against TNA Impact, NXT. None of those threats have I taken as seriously as Dark Side of the Ring presents Jeff Jarrett, This Is Your Life. So, big night ahead. Mark Henry, our subject. Your favorite quartet. Bobby, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm in a different space than I used to be, so that's exciting. Move was successful. It's not my permanent space yet. I'm still getting that set up.
There is a new fan.
Hopefully, there's a fan. You'll probably only see it tonight, but maybe occasionally, special occasions, when it calls for it. But I'm doing well. Doing well.
We haven't had a new fan for a while, dude. I can't lie. Now, you're not the only one in a new setting. Contrarian Alex was just cluing us in. You are too, Alex. Tell the people what's going on. This is a serious situation.
High drama in Central Texas, folks. Me and Oracle are competing for the bland white background. Here in Central Texas, at my house, the central air conditioning went out. The unit shot out. And for those who know much about Central Texas this time of year, not ideal. So I had to have a window unit overnighted because through the home warranty company, the quickest someone can be out here is a week from now. So I have a $140 window unit that Walmart delivered in less than 24 hours. And I'm in the smallest room in the house. It's a little study we got carved out here. I got an air mattress on the floor. And it's actually, if you can believe it, I've got some gimmicks hanging up here. It's a shame I couldn't find a better vantage point. I think the most impressive of which would either be my Owen Hart autograph or my Toy Story 3 poster signed by the director and producer.
Wow.
But whatever the case, I'm here to talk about wigs being split. I'm here to talk about chocolate of the sexual variety, and I'm here to have a good time with the lads.
Yes, indeed. The Oracle of Wrestling, how are you?
I am well. I have moved on from the United States humiliating themselves, but I will continue to watch the Cup because I'm a real fan.
Yep.
I played the sport. I respect the sport. I respect the beautiful game.
Yep.
Go Norway, because that's where my blood runs.
Oh, shit.
So, good luck with guarding Erling Haaland on...
Yeah, I'm not doing it. No. They've got someone else for it, apparently.
Their defense is kind of bad, Norway's. So,
yeah, we'll see.
You guys might be okay.
We shall let it play out. This is going to be an interesting program tonight because Mark Henry is, he's actually come up a lot, but only exclusively through the lens of when we always reference the forum thing, Oracle, with who was better, Shawn Michaels or Mark Henry.
Yeah.
What forum? Please remind me what forum was that?
KO, Wrestling KO, the legendary Wrestling KO, which for some reason I can't actually access anymore. Not because I think the board was shut down or something. I don't know. It was weird. I was investigating some sort of contrarian opinion, might I say. Not involving one contrarian Al.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get to the site. But yes, that is the that is the site Wrestling KO. That featured a quiz where you had to pass it based on the opinions of one Wrestling KO Mike, who was the board administrator, and if he did not believe you passed the quiz, then you did not get access to comment on the message board. And one of the questions was, who is better, Mark Henry or Shawn Michaels? And the correct answer for that board was Mark Henry. Speaking of, we will discuss the Mark Henry Shawn Michaels this evening.
We will.
Finally get us back around to the relevant topic at hand.
Well, I was thrilled to get that in the lineup for that exact reason. But I legitimately think if someone did the maths and found every Mark Henry mention on the platform, it would be like either exclusively that or when we used to review Rampage, I was just going, and then Mark Henry interviewed, and that's like that's the extent of it. But I think we all like Mark Henry. I think most of our community likes Mark Henry. We're going to discuss that tonight as you file in, folks. Please do like the stream and all that good stuff. Happy Tuesday. We appreciate you joining us in spite of our friends at Vice TV. Let's dive in, as we always do, talking big picture. Our Mark Henry fandom. Bobby, I'll go to you and your new fan. This, I feel like timeline-wise, this is going to be a real adventure because there's a lot of stops and starts with Mark Henry. Bobby, where do you stop and start, if you will?
Yeah, so he was in SmackDown 2 with Sexual Chocolate. He had the Titantron and the song and all that, so that was always fun. And then when I started watching in 2002, it was right around when he won the Arnold Classic, so they were kind of featuring him on TV quite a bit. I think he pulled a truck at some point backstage, and that was the whole thing that they focused on. But like, he was also kind of just a guy until 2007. Like, and that's something we'll get into, as we go. It took like 10 years for them to actually do anything with him, and not for lack of trying on their side, but, it took a while. But yeah, once he finally like started the, World's Strongest Man stuff and the stuff we watched 2007 around then I kind of really became a fan. Then Hall of Pain and all that and the Cena stuff. And yeah, no, he rules. I've always liked him because, he's a big guy. I like watching big guys wrestle like that. But, I'm glad he was able to eventually figure it out as well.
He is a guy who I think the legacy of and the sort of reputation of did creep up on people a bit. I think there is a generation of fans that kind of go, wow, you guys really liked Mark Henry, right? And it's like it seems like a sudden thing, an abrupt thing, an overnight thing. It wasn't in reality. It felt that way, though. Alex, I'm intrigued as someone, that was watching Ring of Honor and was truly embroiled in the online conversation. When did you come around to the idea that Mark Henry might be good? Please explain this timeline for me. I would love to hear.
My first pay-per-view I ever went to as a kid was SummerSlam 96, and I don't remember the last time any of y'all watched that show, but like a centerpiece of that is Vince bringing Mark Henry out in like the audaciously 1996 American, like USA outfit and the Olympian, and I think that the first program they were set him up with was Jerry Lawler. Mark Henry, man, you want to talk about iterations of a wrestler and someone who, having been there from the beginning through it all, is an example of it can take a long time, but it's like someone can get it right. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna talk about the time period where Mark Henry was too safe, and then the time period where Mark Henry was too reckless, and then there's just all these different, like, there's just years. He's been signed to the WWE with like one exception, pretty much since 1996.
Yeah.
And as far as an active in-ring wrestler, but there'd just be years where he's gone because they're like, God damn it, get him doing drills and shit because we know there's something here. As far as my perception of Mark Henry, like, there's this little spat, and like, I was a fan when they put him with Teddy Long, but right before that, he's kind of like this marauder babyface, and he has this sick match with Brock when Brock was on the Ascent on SmackDown.
Oh,
that like, I remember kind of getting into that, and I was still kind of young enough. I was probably like 14, 15 to where like the feats of strength segments would be like, oh, this is cool. He lifted a car, that type of shit. But then it became tiresome. But then when in 2011, one of the matches we're going to talk about, I remember like losing my shit during, and like really like, this motherfucker's like, he's figured it out and he's fucking awesome now. And the whole package is coming together and all that. And also being a fellow native of Central Texas, I mean, Austin is not a big city. People, I think, confuse that a lot of the time. I've bumped into Mark Henry at UT games. When I worked at the theater, he was a regular there. He's a very nice gentleman. So I'll put him over in that regard. He's a nice guy. But as far as my experience with him as a wrestler, it's definitely yo-yoed. It's had some ebbs and flows. And I think our lineup of matches.
Oh. He was on fire too. He was about the cinema. Look at him. Look how excited he is. Look at that. Hey, Bobby.
Is like, is that a Bella on his shirt? What is
it may be an iconic shirt. I can't tell. I was going to ask him. He's back. Bobby, how was that for you, be on the other side of this experience? How was that?
Yeah, it's interesting to see that's what it looks like when that happens.
Yeah. You're talking about ebbs and flows, Alex.
Yeah.
I
was just to put a pin on what I'm saying, because I know we're going to go through a lot of this. I think the lineup we have captures it pretty perfectly in terms of like peaks and valleys and his kind of story along the way. So
yes.
I'm excited. You said something in the group earlier, Joe, that I think I agree with. I don't know how much artistic discussion we're going to get out of these matches per se, but I think it is
Right.
going to capture the story of a pretty relevant force for the WWF over the past 30 years.
Yeah, and a spoiler alert in that regard, because we kind of discussed it in our chat, but I like actually all of the matches. I was surprised how much fun I had with the first half of our lineup. Not that I thought they would suck, but like I actually do think when you're looking specifically at Mark Henry, you can see it, right? Like it's there. It's just very much in very short flashes. But it's definitely an interesting story. I think I was there for his Hall of Fame induction, and I don't know if this was. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people online were debating it, but I don't remember anyone being like, "Mark Henry's not a Hall of Famer." I think most people were like, "Yeah, he was awesome," but that would have been unfathomable, like just a year before his big run. Really, right? We're being honest. Like it happened really quick, and it's not a long run. I think, and I don't mean this to understate or.
That he got the Undertaker match at WrestleMania. Like
Oh,
that.
I lost you there. There we go. What'd you say, Alex? Sorry.
Oh, I was saying that there's people were appalled that he got the
Yes.
Undertaker match at WrestleMania.
Yes, absolutely. It's an interesting one. I kind of still don't know, and I also don't like when we do all-time drafts. If we don't pick Mark Henry, I don't think the audience is like, "Where was Mark?" You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know where he really stands in terms of the general wrestling viewer, but I think he is near the top of the list of a guy that like when he comes up, most of the people in our bubble just go, "Good when I liked him," and I also think in fear of underestimating the work itself, because I think it was very good. There's something to be said for the fact the Hall of Pain thing was really like. That really stuck, didn't it? Like, that was the kind of thing that you remember and you'll always remember. So, lots of moving pieces. Oracle, I think it's fair to say, even on a panel of people that like Mark Henry, you would probably be the high man. Give me a timeline on this, Oracle.
Yeah. I mean, my earliest memories of Mark Henry were the Mae Young storyline. I vividly remember May being powerbombed off the stage by the Dudley Boys.
Yeah.
It's one of my earlier Raw memories. yeah, we're going down. So I also remember. So I remember watching that, like one of those SmackDowns where Mark Henry would do those feats of strength that Bobby brought up in 2002. Because, as I brought up once again, 777 times or more by now on this platform. SmackDown would air on Saturdays in Chattanooga area because we didn't have UPN. We had WB, so it would air on like some random local channel. I can't remember which, but I specifically remember the one where he was like pulling the 18-wheeler or whatever the hell it was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Teddy Long Run in 2003 was the first time where he got a really big push in terms of a singles guy. In the upper mid card, was involved in the Great Survivor Series tag in 2003. Had the feud with Booker T, and that run got knocked short because he got hurt again. Which was a pretty. I don't remember exactly what happened, but. It was a pretty gnarly injury or something pretty serious happened. He was out for a very long time. Didn't come back till the SmackDown in 2006, right? Where he attacked Dave Batista, and Batista got hurt on this on the attack. It's the famous match where Mark Henry came back and ripped the cage door off and all that. But I became a fan of Mark Henry probably in 2008. My brother, my oldest brother, was really high on him back in 2006 during the SmackDown.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I didn't dislike him, but I wasn't really I didn't really buy into that type of style yet. I was still obviously much more into athleticism and big spots and stuff at the time. But the 08 run with the ECW title was like, man, this guy's awesome. Great match with Matt Hardy on TV, great title reign, so on and so forth. I even kind of liked the babyface tag team he had with the MVP in 2009. Yeah. But then, of course, the Hall of Pain run in 2011, became a lifetime fan. Just exceptional way he carried himself. several great matches, not just the two we're going to cover here tonight, but several. Of course, world title run. Great promo during this period.
Mm-hmm.
I just became a huge Mark Henry fan in 2011. He was the other big highlight outside of the Summer of Punk stuff. Was the Hall of Pain Mark Henry run, which actually was sustained itself longer, right? Because it was mostly on SmackDown and didn't have the ill effects of all the stuff surrounding the Summer of Punk.
Wait,
But
was the Night of Champions match we covered, was that the same night as Paul and Punk?
Yep.
Holy
So-
shit! I just now put that together. Holy shit!
It's weird because I know there's a lot of stuff underneath in 2011 that isn't so good, but on Raw you have the Punk stuff, and on SmackDown you have Christian and Randy, which is then getting ready for Mark Henry. So it's like,
wow.
it's actually really notable stuff, but I don't know how good the other stuff was. Probably not very
right. Not very memorable. I don't think. But yeah. I mean, of course, here I am going through his whole career, but which we were going to do anyways. But huge Mark Henry fan. And I agree with Joe. I think all these, like I said earlier in our group chat about how much I love the last three matches, but the first three matches are all range from really fun to pretty good, and Mark Henry was impressive in all of them. So I think we picked a really good half dozen matches. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. I think at one point you inspired that, and we didn't quite get the. I heard hashtag, Alex. Did you say hashtag push the cruiserweights?
Oh, yeah. When he was talking about being more of a supporter of the athleticism at that point, that was young Oracle.
Give me more Funaki, please.
I thought, young Oracle didn't think, John Cena could work in 06 either.
Yeah.
07, I think things started to change, man. When he's out there bleeding against Umaga, I thought, oh, wait a minute.
How old were you then?
Let's see. I was 8th grade, fall of 06, spring of 07, so I was 14.
Okay, yeah. To be fair, at that point, you are kind of you inherently, I think most people become a little contrarian at that time, right? A little, so.
Oracle in the lunch hall, just like, oh man, did y'all see Velocity?
Velocity. We have a super chat here from Riley, and Bob, I would like us I'd like you to try your best at the Rampage line. How confident do you think you are you could hear with the same enthusiasm that Mark would back in the olden days on Fridays?
Oh man, it's been a couple years, but time for talking is over. It's time for the main event. Shout out the triple threat from Night of Champions 08 between Henry, Shawn, and Glenn, locked in for the Grappler.
That's strong. That's really, really strong. The fan is moving, mostly fluidly. Things are going well, folks. If we have any technical difficulties throughout the night, bear with us. We're doing everything. Mostly, I think we're doing okay. Mostly. We'll monitor this situation as we go. But Mark Henry's created many, many technical difficulties along the way. So it's fitting, really. Let's dive in and discuss this match. I also want to call out, we have a new member. Hell yeah. Welcome aboard. It doesn't tell me the tier, and for me, it doesn't even say the name. But you're a new member, which we're very, very thankful for. Appreciate it. All right. So, Mark Henry. I was reading up today. I don't think we're going to do a deep dive into his exploits, and I'm going to do a deep dive into his exploits in powerlifting. But I do think it's important that we stress that in a world of gimmicks and shenanigans, it really has to be stressed that he was a legitimate force of nature physically. This is not like a sort of like a wink brother thing. Like he has to be one of the most impressive physical specimens they've ever had on the contract. He has to be, right?
He wasn't.
There's a video of him dunking.
He wasn't an NFL player like Lex Luger. It wasn't one of these things they fucking gimmicked up.
Yeah, he was an absolute freak of nature. He was a wrestling fan as a kid, which I think probably explains his willingness to just continue plugging away at this career that was giving him nothing but pain, quite frankly, along the way. He represented the United States in the Olympics, I believe, twice. and he shows up in pro wrestling before the 96 Olympics, doing some business with Jerry Lawler. He signs afterwards. It was mentioned earlier, the Lawler stuff, which is where he starts, and ultimately leads to him kind of getting reset, and, he's not ready, right? So they kind of slow things down. They send him away to get some reps, and he ultimately comes back in late 97, joining the Nation in January 98, where he and D'Lo, which will become relevant here shortly, kind of form a team within. Of course, it is later that year that The Rock emerges as a babyface sensation, just for a moment, right, as Deadly Game looms, and that brings us to our first match from November 9th, 1998, Monday Night Raw. This was taped on the 3rd of November. The Rock and Mark Henry in a main event here on Raw in the road to that aforementioned Deadly Game. I had to say, I watched before the match, there was a promo earlier in the show with The Rock, an interview backstage. It was so interesting, dude, because it's there and he has the act, but he would get so polished and he's like stumbling on his lines. Like, Bobby, did you watch this too?
I did, yeah. You kind of see him try and like plan what's next as he's talking instead of just flowing with it.
Yeah, it was kind of stilted for his standards, right, Alex?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I lost it at the end because he gets off track early, and then he kind of stumbles throughout it, and then he brings it around at the end, and he hits the final line where he goes, "Get in the people's ring, whip Mark Henry's fat ass if you smell." But you're exactly right. Bob hit the nail on the head. You can see in his mind he's trying to get where he's going, and it's just like you said. It's an interesting forecast of a precursor of what would obviously become one of the more celebrated raps in the wrestling promo game.
Exactly that, and this is a fun one. There is, it's 1998 Monday Night Raw, right? So there are some smoke and mirrors, there are some shenanigans, there's some some different business involved in the finish. But I do think in the match itself, you do see some of Mark Henry's physical gifts, the way he's able to bump around for Rock early on when the Rock's getting shined. I mean, it's a big dude, right? And he's kind of flying around on some Rock clotheslines and such. The Rock's energy does steal the show, though, and then those aforementioned theatrics late really hook the people. Alex, I'll stick with you. What did you make of our first match, which is just a simple TV main, but for a guy 2 years in, I think gives you a lot to look at, right?
Yeah, and I'll come back to Mark Henry in just a second, but we were talking about the promo, so I'm going to stick with Dwayne for a minute. It worked for him, obviously, but Dwayne hadn't settled into the match that Dwayne has. And here he's fucking working like Kerry Von Erich in '83, dude. And he's like hitting these back-to-back clotheslines. There's a part where he shoots Henry off and gives him a power slam. I was kind of living for what was going on. On the outside, he takes his head off with a clothesline. It's good shit. He hits a vertical suplex on Mark Henry at one point where, Henry helps him the best he can, but still, it's a big fella. You got to get up with that. D'Lo Brown's still wearing the chest protector here. I believe this was 5 months after Dan Severn tore his pectoral muscle. So that Bob Orton-esque healing device, it got a big pop out of me. And final note on The Rock I have here is he pushes his gas tank to the end. Like he's really, especially towards the end there, like going for it. And he's huffing and puffing at the end, and something to respect. We do get a cameo from the greatest big match wrestler of all time, Shane McMahon.
Here comes the money.
In regards to our subject du jour, though, Mark Henry, again, this is still even going from no training to a television main event in pretty much 2 years is the time period here. It's still, he's very green, but on The Rock's comeback, where he's bumping and feeding those clotheslines, you can see the athleticism that he possesses. Because, man, I couldn't get up for two of those, and he's just fucking up and at him. And at no point does it seem like he's like lost or anything like that. And you can just see some of the talent that he would. It was still rough, but he would sharpen along the way. And I imagine they probably did this a few times on the house shows. Just has to be one of those things that he looks back on and like, I wrestled the biggest movie star in the world in the TV main event.
Yeah.
So it's like a crazy thing. But yeah, every once in a while, you watch one of these Attitude Era matches, like peak Attitude Era, and the little shenanigans of all of it, as long as they keep it confined, because this match is, 7 minutes? it's pretty fun. You know, it's not to the point of like rolling your eyes like Jesus fucking Christ,
Right.
but like it. So I enjoyed this, and yeah, it's Mark Henry. We were talking about the iterations. I think he goes through several stages of greenness, and this is like an early rough one. But this is really good. I know personally when I was thinking of first act matches, I was struggling. And when you presented this one, I did not remember it at all, and I had a good time with it. I think this is a really good encapsulation of where he was at the time.
Feels fitting too to get like some nation business right in there, and it is interesting. I mean, you mentioned the star power of The Rock, but that was one of my favorite things about this lineup. It was really easy to split the acts, right? It was like push top guy at the end, rookie at the start, and then the multiple like kind of attempts at a reboot in the middle. But when you looked at our lineup on paper, it's like Shawn Michaels, The Rock, Rey Mysterio, Oracle, Kane, right?
I'm gonna tell you something.
Yep, we'll get there.
Second match, brother.
John
That's
Cena, Randy
the
Orton,
golden children of the last 25 years in the WWF. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty interesting, but the thing that I really took from that was the visual of Contrarian Alex feeding The Rock's comeback, which would be a remarkable thing.
Get up, you fat piece of trash, if you smell.
What would The Rock's promo be on you, Alex? Has he been watching you?
Your name is Contrarian? That's how he would start.
All right, tremendous.
I'll tell you what you can do with that physical media.
I don't remember you did it on one of the Usos. You did the old Rock do of The Rock's been watching you. He's been watching you.
Me and my buddies always had this bit about The Rock coming out during the height of sanity in NXT, and like The Rock cutting a promo, be like, whoa, Eric Young, The Rock knows you. The Rock's been watching. Bidemo.
Tremendous stuff. The Oracle of Wrestling. Fun way to start our lineup. What did you think, mate?
Yeah, this was as Don't Have an At mentioned right before the magnum opus, as I once titled it. Survivor Series Deadly Game '98. Vince Russo's magnum opus. If
not just the magnum opus, just the.
If we want to give Vince Russo that type of credit, which
Yeah, well, as we speak, he's almost certainly making a fool of himself on Vice, so we should probably balance it out a little bit, right? So we'll do our thing, but yeah.
Right. This was just super entertaining. JR was screaming on commentary, and what is it that Alex says? Retweets aren't endorsements or whatever the hell it is. Vince McMahon is incredible here.
Dude, unreal.
Just like character work is amazing. Mark Henry is obviously very green here, but like as Alex pointed out, what always stands out to me, especially with young Mark Henry, is his athleticism. Like the bumps he takes in this and his mobility and agility is like really, really fucking impressive. Yeah. He doesn't have much else to add other than that at this point, but you can see the physical gifts that he has. And I don't think it's crazy to say at all. And it's a WWE propaganda thing, but it's also largely true. He's one of the best athletes they've ever had.
100%. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's 100%. One thing to see Kurt Angle or Brock Lesnar like doing crazy shit, but they have that like traditional athletic build where you can believe that they're, big guys, especially Brock, but you can believe he can do like some crazy, agile stuff. Mark Henry just looks like a muscular,
he's an anomaly.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's just insane how athletic that dude is. One of the best athletes I've ever had for sure. And I thought that's what these early matches, especially these first two, and we'll get to tag match in a few minutes, really showed us how incredibly athletic he is.
And so much so, he's so big that like, even though you can tell his weight did fluctuate, he always just looked like a wall, didn't he? Like he always, like even when he was later in his career and he was clearly getting bigger, he still looked like familiar. It never looked like he changed physically, even though he was actually adding weight, dropping weight, because he's just so dense. It was like truly a physical anomaly in that way. Remarkable.
having been just like feet away from him,
Yeah.
Exchanging pleasantries. Finn Balor can put on a baseball cap and go somewhere and not be recognized.
Right.
Mark Henry cannot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Speaking of such, what was his movie genre?
Well, he used to come with his family, and I remember having a conversation with him about Wreck-It Ralph. He was a big fan, and I was too. So that's like and then, of course, because he's Mark Henry, he had a concession order that was like $65. I remember those. So
What a beast.
I was a manager at that time, and just like, have a good night, that type of shit. Yeah.
Tremendous stuff. All right. Bobby, our opening match. What did you think, mate?
Yeah, you guys kind of laid it out. Like, they kind of keep it safe like they should.
Yeah.
He does some clotheslines, he does the bear hug. There's one where Rock's on the mat and Mark hits the ropes and does like the elbow drop sort of thing. He gets a ton of air. Like, and you kind of forget, like, it's like you talk about he's so big, but like he can move like that. And JR talked about, came up in the chat, he talked about a couple times how he could dunk a basketball. So yeah, I mean, it's a really good starting point, and you can kind of see the development just from here to the next match. And I think that's really cool too, because he's not bad here, but like he's clearly, still trying to figure it out. And the next match, he's even better.
Let's get to that next match, because there's a topic within the topic here. May 23rd, 19...
I just want to compliment
Yes.
Mark Henry's goatee and sideburn combination at this time was just unbelievable. The type of thing is I could never pull off, but it was wonderful.
Yeah. If I'm late to respond to you, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's because when you first talk, your audio has to reset. It's a StreamYard thing. So if you see me not responding, just yell. Because the boys can vouch. When you first start speaking, it'll be low, and then you come back to normal. It's just it's like canceling your shit. It does this sometimes. Don't worry about it. But yes, what was you talking about? What did you actually say, Alex? I was too busy explaining to your audio levels.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go get my backup mic in a second, see if that helps. But if you can hear me right now, I was just talking about Mark Henry's goatee and sideburn combination at this point in time was wonderful.
We can hear you fine, to be clear. It's just I think it's having to reset because it's not configured like the way it's not used to your audio being that way. That's fine. That's all it is.
All right, I'm gonna go grab my mic while you address the really fun part about our next match.
Okay, thank you, mate. So now I feel bad, Bob. I just didn't want him to think that I couldn't hear him. I mean, I didn't want him to think I was ignoring him. I couldn't hear him. Now I feel bad.
It was tough. Like the first half of what he was saying, you'd have to.
Yeah. But now he's walking around.
What a piece of shit.
He's walking around his house, no AC, going, this fucking guy has got me running around. I don't know. Anyway. Dude, D'Lo Brown is incredible in the match we're about to talk about. May 23rd, 1999, WWE Over the Edge. Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown opposite Kane and X-Pac in a really fun opener. First thing here is like the heat for D'Lo is saying that I was not aware was this vociferous. Like the D'Lo sucks chants at the first bell were insane. He's so good in this match, Bobby. Like I don't want to sound surprised because I like D'Lo Brown, but like he's 25 years old here. I feel like if he existed this exact way today, people would lose their minds for this guy as a prospect.
For sure. No, my first note is D'Lo doesn't get credit for how good he was.
Yeah. And he had a strange career too, so like I get it, but he was on fire. What did you make of the match yourself? I thought it was a really fun one, personally.
I thought it was a blast. 4 guys that are fun to watch at that time. It was a lot better and a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. There's some really cool spots, like Mark Henry almost press slams Kane, or he does press slam, I believe. He doesn't take him out, Kane gets right back up. Yeah. That's what happens. So that's cool. And yeah, I mean, like I said, you kind of see him get a little bit more here. I don't think doing the splash in the corner while your partner is getting a Bronco Buster is particularly effective, and it did cost him the match, so you do have to take some points off for that. But yeah, overall, this is a great time. I know we talked about D'Lo getting most of the work, and I actually like the very beginning too when Mark first tags in and X-Pac's, scared a little bit, backs over and tags Kane in. That's good stuff. It's just kind of simple. It works. Really good opener.
Yes, indeed. Very, very good. Hello, Alex.
Uh-oh.
Good evening. He appears to be adjusting accordingly. Don't worry, folks. Fear not.
He's not left.
No, he's not. No, he looks great. Hello.
Is this any better?
It's definitely not, but you tried your best, and that's what matters. Switch back, and we'll just deal with it. I'll just try and turn you up as much as I can when you're low. Don't worry about it. It wasn't that bad. I didn't want you to do a runaround.
All right.
Yeah. Well, hold on a second. Hang on. Give me a sentence there. Hang on a second.
Did you notice that Jim Ross made an Oscar De La Hoya name drop in this match?
I actually missed that entirely. Tell me about that, Alex. You're sounding better here as we speak.
Okay. So at one point, Kane hits an uppercut, and JR goes, an uppercut, not unlike Oscar De La Hoya on pay-per-view last night. And I had to look it up, and he fought Obakar. It was the filler fight to build him up for Tito Trinidad, where he lost the first fight of his career. So
that was an underrated JR thing. The boxing references, the recent pay-per-views.
He had SummerSlam '98 or something. There was one I remember him saying, "A golada like low blow." That was the big one that I remember.
Tremendous.
Matt in the chat. It's the Iconics on my shirt.
Okay, yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful shirt. Your mic is hanging in there. I'm gonna monitor the situation. Thank you. I didn't want you to have to do a runaround. There's no AC, but it's just
it's all right.
Yeah.
I can I can stand to lose a little weight, sweat it off here. A conversation I'm sure Vince McMahon had with Mark Henry many, many times.
Yes. In your absence, we were talking about D'Lo Brown, who is incredible in this match relative to what it is. It's a fun opener, but I really like this match. And Alex, I appreciate you calling out because for obvious reasons, this isn't the thing that people remember vividly because there are obviously, this show is just very, very dark down pro wrestling history. But for these four guys in the opener, they really do a hell of a job, don't they?
This is the only match I've ever seen from the show. And the whole reason why was I remember when I was, when I was a kid, later in 99 or in 2000, they did like a video package for Kane. And they showed the clip in this where he did the dive off the top rope to the floor. And I remember being like, when the hell did that happen? And like my goal was to like track it down. And then I do remember some people on the forums back in the day saying like, hey, this match is kind of good, but there's a very obvious reason why no one really ever talks about it. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. This is like, there's some pretty insane feats of strength and just like displays of athleticism. I know we used that word already. Kane's drop kick in this is shockingly the second best drop kick in this lineup that we have tonight. But like obviously the big thing is fucking Mark Henry military presses Kane at one point in this match. Mark Henry's ring gear, pissed off bouncer, is basically what he's dressed up like in this match. It's and then also there's this weird like he's really just doing a lot of punches. It seems like he had recently learned punches or someone told him he needs to do a lot of punches in the match because there's like a part, not quite Vader, but he's got Kane in the corner at one point. And he's just kind of like, unloading on him and working the body. It's kind of strange for, Mark Henry to do. But to your point, I think a lot of this match is just an offensive and defensive exhibition of D'Lo Brown, who if we were to talk about Oracle, would it be fair to say if you wanted to talk about 1999's WWF work rate stuff, it pretty much boiled down to like D'Lo and X-Pac and whatever light heavyweight meant. Kane. Yes. But I remember throughout 98, there were a lot of like X-Pac and D'Lo like European title matches on TV that were really good. But yeah, he's insane here. He does that like inside out springboard fucking Phoenix Senton at one point. It's like, what's he doing? Yeah. He does a Liger bomb. Kane hits a really sick tilt-a-whirl at one point in this match. It's just a really fun opener, and the choke slam that ends it looks awesome too because Henry just like bounces off the mat. So it's we talked about in the first match. We got the Nation lore to tie into it, and then the D'Lo tag team with Mark Henry. Unfortunately, very short-lived. Their trio with Ivory, but I thought for a moment that act was really awesome because in this house we do celebrate Ivory as a Hall of Famer.
Facts. D'Lo Brown is he like? Can we steal a Grin Grappler lineup with D'Lo? I feel like he's an interesting story. And he returns to All Japan in 2013, which feels like something that would be an incredible way to conclude the Kurt Angle TNA match, and then that as the Act 3. Aces and Eights D'Lo, winding it down.
Dude, there is a match I was live for that was Jerry Lynn, Bryan Danielson, D'Lo Brown, and Eric Stevens in a 4-way. Like, that's the type of shit that was going on in Ring of Honor in 2009. So we definitely could. There's
TNA stuff, first run, right?
We could get some Smoky Mountain stuff. He teams with New Jack and Smoky Mountain. I think he teams with them in that match where they wrestle The Undertaker.
He might actually, yeah. He might. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff there. I was kind of pondering that earlier. Interesting. The Oracle of Wrestling, this is your moment. We have celebrated D'Lo Brown, but I will say it and then throw it your way. Kane's very good in this match.
He is.
Kane is great in this match. This is, all jokes aside, 99 Kane, when he wanted to be, he was actually really fucking athletic and pretty damn good.
He was athletic, yeah. He was.
And this was a good example. He always fit well in tags. He and X-Pac were a good tag team. He throws a cool drop kick here, as Alex pointed out, the Tilt World. The big dive at the end of the match was great. But yeah, I mean, you know, D'Lo was always good during this period. Him, X-Pac, those are always two that stand out. Val Venus got to be pretty good in like 99, 2000. You know, another one of Kane's buddies, I guess.
Shane, man.
But yeah, there you go, Shane. Test.
Ooh, suck it.
But yeah, this is, Mark Henry working in that like bouncer gear seems incredibly uncomfortable. Like I don't know how. I just can't imagine like bumping in that shit.
Do we know how long he did that? Like, why
I don't know, but that just seems like.
Okay, before you watch this, did you have any memory of him ever wearing that? Because I did not.
I don't remember him.
No.
Like, I remember he would come out during segments and shit like that, but like I don't remember him wrestling in that
in the opening match.
Outfit. Yeah, at all. I don't remember
and
that. I was
commentary
like,
gives him
astounded
shit
by it.
At some point. Like commentary gives him shit for his pants falling down, and it's like he's just like dressed up. Like, why would he? How was that his fault?
But he was pretty. Like you could see there was some improvement in this one, as opposed to 6 months earlier in the Rock match. He was moving around even a little bit better in this one, taking big bumps. Chokeslam bump, as Alex mentioned, was great on the finish. I can imagine like Joe Briscoe coming up to Mark Henry in the backseat going, "Hey Mark, Mr. McMahon told me you need to learn how to throw a punch."
Yeah, and D'Lo's throwing a lot of them too. A lot of them, like good ones, but a lot of them. Yeah.
But yeah, this was a very fun match, and not one I'd ever seen. I've seen Austin Taker, the main event, before on this show, but nothing else. And yeah, this is the first time I've ever seen this one.
How about Oracle? That part I forgot to mention, where Kane goes to give D'Lo a back body drop, and D'Lo does like a cartwheel out of it. Like he does a flip and lands on his feet.
That was sick. Yeah.
Motherfucker was making his audition tape for Best of the Super Juniors that year, man.
Yeah, he was on
I'll tell
fire.
You what,
dude.
if we do D'Lo Grin Grappler, low down, brother.
Yeah, we need it. We fucking need it. Of course, with us, when we do D'Lo Brown, we'd have like too many matches. Of course we would, right? Like, that's exactly what we would do. Like it goes from me asking if we can do one to us going, can we have 8 matches? Maybe. Let's see.
That Oracle mentioned Val Venus. The opener of SummerSlam '98 goes fucking hard. That Val Venus D'Lo Brown match is great, dude.
Yeah. I think D'Lo's also currently appearing on Vice. There's just so many crossovers here. You love to see it. But a very fun match, and we give him his props. Kane is indeed good in this one. Make of that what you will.
He only has one arm exposed, but you can tell the brother was well back at this point in '99, man.
He was full. So, quick side note with this, because I was watching it, really struck me. How weird is it that like they seldom put him in teams, considering that like when he was green, when he was Raw, this actually felt like the perfect way to use him, because as a babyface, he can be the hot tag. As a heel, he can be the heater. And Oracle, grip me wrong, like there's not a ton. I mean, he has the MVP team. But like, are there any others? Like, I feel like good usage of him would have been.
So they had that brief period in the fall of 2014 where they were teasing that he and Big Show were going to be a tag team, and they were really fun together. They had they were in some trios against the Shield. They were in a brief TV feud for about 3 or 4 weeks with the Wyatts, and had some pretty good matches with them. Yeah, dude.
I need to see this shit.
Go to cage match. Like they have several matches together in the team or unit of 3 maybe. Yeah, they kind of teased that, and then once you get, then they got to the build to Survivor Series, and they had to turn Big Show heel at Survivor Series to push that agenda or whatever.
Yeah.
To have him turn again because laugh out loud, I guess. And maybe I can't remember. Maybe Mark got hurt around that time again, or maybe you know what? Maybe it's 2013. Maybe I'm misremembering.
You're
it's either
not.
13 or 14.
So I just found one here. Ronan Harper versus Henry and Show. August 2014 SmackDown.
Okay,
One
so
rating
yeah,
on
I
Cage
remember.
Match, and it's a 9. Oh baby, adding it
It's
to
a
the
9?
playlist.
Baby.
One rating, yeah, single rating, 9.
Oh baby, it's probably Matt D. Oh shit. Let's fucking go.
I love, like, in my mind, I'm thinking about what teams Mark Henry could have where, like, he has a little guy working around him, and immediately Oracle goes, he teamed with the Big Show, and the chat goes, Big Daddy V, Rodney Mack, like, it ain't exactly Double J, is it, So,
No,
'cause-
yeah, like so. I guess we can wait for this, but I'm reminded of, the summer draft in 2009. So the MVP team started when basically Mark Henry was a heel. Of course, Tony Atlas was his manager in ECW for like a year, and he got drafted to Raw in the summer of 2009. I'll never forget. They did like a gauntlet match with Orton, and Mark Henry turned face in that match, and like. During the match, he did the whole like raise the roof thing or whatever it was that he started doing. I don't know if you've ever seen it when he and MVP were tag team.
Yeah.
And that's like, and he got like super over for that. And so I guess like, my guess is Vince like popped at that. And so like, he had to do that every time they fucking teamed up. I don't know. It's just like a weird memory of mine, but like it pops me every time I think about like 2009, 2010 Mark Henry because like babyface Mark Henry.
Godly.
It's kind of relevant to the Mark Henry discussion and something that I imagine now is probably the best time because when we start the second act, we're going to be past the sexual chocolate and the Mae Young stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think something that may have been a reason that it took so long for Mark Henry to become like the feared main eventer was he was clearly a guy that never said no to anything that like Vince asked him to do. And I'm not aware of this raise the roof lore, but that's fucking hilarious. The idea of Vince like catching a fucking 15-year-old episode of Showtime at the Apollo in his hotel room, and then I got this idea: you're gonna raise the roof.
Did Mark not do this, Bobby? Am I misinterpreting it? He did something to sort of like try to like do, or maybe it was more of like an orchestra thing. But I think it was either raise the roof or it was something weird to like get the crowd going.
I think it was Raise the Roof. Let me see if I can find it, because that sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
He would when he was like an inconsequential babyface, like in the later 2010s, he would just dance in his matches, and it was fucking hilarious all the time. I posted that gif of him like
that's what I'm
vibing towards Summer Rae. That shit's hilarious, dude.
That's when he got the whole buzz finally went bald, right? Like right around that time. Yeah.
I have the exact match he comes back bald with, and it when I read it, I was like, I have no recollection it's been a thing. I'll get to it later. There's a weird pay-per-view deal they do, which I'll get to, but
anyway,
before them, yes, go for it.
I was just gonna close on my point of like,
yes,
it feeds into this whole thing we're talking about, though. I think because going into the new millennium and well after him just getting whatever's on the sheet and him saying yes to it, I think probably bought him a lot of the loyalty they had to him to keep him around for so long and send him like places to recoup or reconfigure his persona and whatnot. But I think that's why the Hall of Pain thing had to be as impactful as it was, because I think there were still so many fans that were like, the Mae Young guy, I don't know if I buy him as like a main eventer anymore. So it's an interesting thing to, I guess, ponder.
It is, and the sexual chocolate name, the moniker at least, stuck with him because our final match of the lineup, he gets it chanted in by Philly, right? So like it's a thing, for better or worse, Bruce Bridges thing, Bobby, where he just, no matter how bad it is, he goes, "We'll remember it."
Good point.
Which is not really like, when you really hold that logic up to anything else, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really work at all, right? But remember it doesn't mean it's a good thing necessarily. But
there
who's
was
to tell Bruce Pritchard?
One of the retro Raws where they had him come out to the sexual chocolate theme, and he wore the old gear that I remember watching live and popping for. So I guess, yeah. Bruce Pritchard
Yeah.
might be right. Sun shines on a dog's ass every once in a while, you know.
But yes, Mae Young and such. The hand. We don't. I mean it. It truly.
When the
Yes.
hand came back as an adult or like as a kid, that was one of the all-time great moments.
That
ever.
was funny. That I hate how hard I laughed at that when that happened. That was good.
One of the all-time great moments ever is such an awesome way of phrasing it too.
I would have described it as really funny. I don't know about all time great. You know, Savage and Elizabeth being reunited might be up there.
Whoa, what do we know of this, Alex? Are we aware of this? I'm not aware of this figure. I haven't seen a lot of Mark Henry figures, quite frankly.
It's sexual.
That's a clip. That's definitely a clip.
Is that supposed to be like an Isaac Hayes thing?
It's supposed to be like a fucking R&B. Dude, I remember being like freshman in high school, maybe like 15, you know, when your friends first discover like smoking weed and shit. And we'd get high, you know, off this just dirt weed and then play Royal Rumbles on No Mercy and would react accordingly. Whoever came out, like if The Rock came out, go crazy. But anytime Mark Henry came out, we would always sing his theme song, and it's sexual, baby. So that thing's embedded in my fucking skull, man, just from those memories.
What do we know, Alex, of Mark Henry's action figure? While this subject comes up, what do we know of? Has he got like recent legends or such? I got DM'd to me apparently. I'll check this out. Alex, what do we know?
Let's see.
I don't remember a lot of Legends figures.
I'm trying to picture a Mark Henry wrestling figure. I know there's like one of the Jax ones was like legendarily bad, where he they just had him
diaper.
Yeah, exactly. Holy shit! Yeah, he did get a sexual chocolate figure. It was looks like it was a Walmart exclusive.
I'm gonna put this on the screen here in a second.
A Mattel. I remember I had the Bone Cruncher that was in the Nation gear. That was the one I always had in my Fig Fed. I never re-upped. I'm sending you a picture right now, Joe, of this.
There's sexual chocolate, Mark Henry. Fan Central. Wow. For the people, always. There you go. So, some action figure talk here, as is tradition, in the midst of our Grin Grappler program. I'm sure we'll circle back here shortly. Nonetheless, the point is people remember. The point is people remember sexual chocolate. That was the point, I believe, right?
Last one on the figure front. You know, they have that crossover deal with Street Fighter right now. He's getting a Balrog figure. Mark Henry is Balrog, which is pretty sick. Yeah.
Outstanding piece of business. Because, of course, he's a legend again now, as he's like back under contract. So, okay. So, the sexual chocolate thing, people remember it. But it is really the end of that first act. He is sent to OVW in 2000. Prepare yourselves. I'm going to say those words quite a few times over the next couple of hours. He is sent to OVW in 2000. Okay, before we move on, and the only other matches you want to call out for Act 1. This is very difficult, I know. This is 96 to 2000. There's not a lot of options, I'm aware. Alex, anything that immediately springs to mind you would like to at least note for its significance?
The other one I was going to propose was he wrestled Terry Funk in a King of the Ring qualifier.
He did.
And as you can imagine, Funk did all he could to make him look good. The most heartbreaking thing is the series of matches he had with Vader. They're very, very bad. It's Vader's at probably the peak of his like WWF depression of thinking he's not good, and they want Mark Henry obviously to go over him. And all four of us can be honest about this. There is a timeline where Mark Henry versus Vader fucking rules, and it's not the one that we got.
Absolutely. Bobby, any matches you want to call out, mate, before we move to Act 2 here in a moment?
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah. I think there's a ton. I'll wait for the Oracle of Wrestling. Oracle, anything? You can give me a nod or a shake there.
No, I don't think so. I think I swear I've read some Segunda Caída
Here we go.
Praising Mark Henry like Shotgun Saturday Night matches from 1998.
Oh, baby. The pursuit goes on. All right.
I haven't seen them. So.
Thank you, Oracle. Appreciate that.
There is that Nation versus DX street fight on some Raw where they use a bunch of plunder and stuff. That's pretty fun.
And I think it's important to note, like, there are a lot of Attitude Era acts that would have had a deeper catalog in a different era, but that wasn't really the vibe, was it? You know, like especially on TV, you didn't really have like the Nation didn't have like 16-minute 6-man tags very often on Raw.
I always think about like those best of the Attitude Era sets they put out, like on Blu-ray. The idea of like a modern wrestling fan watching those and being, every match is like 6 minutes long. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I was gonna make that point earlier. Like, it sounds silly. The Rock match is 7 minutes, but like 7 minutes of TV time in '98 was like a pretty big vote of confidence. Like, it was not a lot of Raw main events are 3 minutes long, right? I mean, there's some really short ones, especially with no finishes and all sorts. So
yeah, it's great matches weren't what the crowd was coming to see in 1998.
Right, and they weren't getting them. They left happy.
Very rarely, yeah.
So let's move on to Act 2 here. As we mentioned, OVW. He then does the Arnold in honor of his mother who passed away in 2000. And this is like legitimately a crazy thing that I heard JBO explain many years ago, because of course he did. He had never been a pro strongman. And he started training for the event 4 months prior and then won the whole thing, which in that world was considered like a Herculean effort and a major upset. However, wrestling fans didn't really understand what any of that meant, nor did I until I heard JBL explain it a couple of years ago. Bobby, have you heard, I think Bruce Smash by this, like, there was a disconnect between, like, they knew what he had just done was insane, but it was trying to convey that to the wrestling fan, which is what led to those skits we mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah, like I said, they tried to get it over on TV, and it was like he pulled the truck. I think he like bent a frying pan with his hands one week, and it's just like, well, that's cool, but let's see him get in the ring.
Is that the most wrestling fan thing ever, Alex? Like, legitimate world-class achievement, and we just go, can he, is his gas tank better? How's his heat segment? Tell us.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like an equivalent of someone like, caring. That was kind of a lot of thing with the Ken Shamrock thing in the early days, like when he was a badass with the wrestling. I don't give a fuck,
Yeah. Insane feat. And again, speaks the legitimacy of, Henry's profile and the way he was branded. He was legit, dude. I mean, just insane.
That's how they brought him back in after that, right? Though, was him like rolling up the frying pans and shit like that. Yeah. It
kind of messed with him because the idea was to like totally let him just, rebuild as a talent. But once he won the tournament, won the I don't know the correct term. When I was on the Arnold competition, that seems right. Once he won that, there was a thing of like, we need to get him back on TV because it was really impressive. But obviously, wrestling fans are just like, they're like, we want to see Maven. He won Tough Enough. So it's just
great eyebrows.
True. It's a difficult thing, definitely. So
I can see my fantasy. I'm so consumed in it.
Yes. Sorry. There you go. Anytime we can get that in. Because I don't think we're ever going to do Grin, Grappler, Maven. So, saying that, he did wrestle Cardona a few years ago. Could be a good holiday special down the line. Give it a big picture. We're going to run out of holiday specials at some point, fellas. We had a gem, though, didn't we? Come up to us, a couple months ago for this year. So, nonetheless, guess where he goes after the strongman stuff doesn't get over? He goes back to OVW. At one time on one of these trips back to OVW, there's the infamous Cornette story of they use real ropes and Mark Henry runs the ropes and just they break immediately or something or another, and Cornette's screaming about Johnny Ace and something to that effect. And he comes back in August 2003. We mentioned this run earlier. Teddy Long, Monday Night Raw, and gets like a pretty decent push. He does the deal with Goldberg, which we covered, right? On what do we call it? 12 Bouts of Bill.
Yeah.
Beast.
And then the Survivor Series 03 match. Before that, on November 3rd, 2003, Monday Night Raw, he meets Shawn Michaels in a clash of forum ideologies. They have a 7-minute TV main event that is really fun, actually. And I think, again, there is a considerable leap here, Oracle, from what we saw before. And we need to be clear, this isn't like groundbreaking, right? But there's just a little more oomph and a little more confidence, right?
Yeah, he really shows, Mark Henry really shows here that he knows what he's doing. In the previous matches from the late 90s that we talked about, his athleticism was off the charts, but the greenness came more so in the sort of in between moments and like there wasn't a lot that he was adding to the match outside of taking bumps or hitting simple moves and offense. And here, I mean, look, Mark Henry was never going to hit. He worked to his size, right? But his trash talking, the way he moves around the ring, the way he sort of preys on Michaels here, which is something that he masters even more in the latter trilogy of matches we're going to talk about. Yeah, just his timing is really good. He knows how to kind of wobble and wobble sell and put over his opponents pretty well. He's just sort of figured out the sort of intricacies and little details that we all sort of pick up on as big time wrestling fans. But yeah, this is a really, really fun match. I love early on when this struck me as like, holy shit. I will sometimes get a hair and like go on Cage Match and look at like
Yes.
attendances from like Ruthless Aggression era.
Of course you
And
will.
like 03, 04, they did terrible houses.
Yes.
There was no one at the show.
Yeah.
Like if
Especially
there's one part where
SmackDown.
you do like the pan over from like the
Mhm.
camera going up from the foot of the ramp, at ringside, and there's like just curtains.
Yeah.
There's like no one there. And it just struck me. And that's something I never noticed as a kid, right? Watching.
Right.
I just was not something that was, you don't pick up on those production things when you're, I guess I was in 5th grade, so it would have been just a few weeks before I turned 11. But yeah, like you just don't pick up on those things. I noticed that, but I did, going back to the match, when Teddy Long interfered and Austin did like did the to get Teddy Long to toss Teddy out was great. Then this isn't like, it's not going to knock you off your feet or anything, but Henry just works over Shawn really well. Shawn sells pretty well. The crowd that's there gets into it. JR's great on commentary. One thing that always used to like pop me as a kid, even though I was never the biggest Shawn fan, but it still stands out, as when he would hit the Sweet Chin Music out of nowhere and pick up the win,
Mm-hmm.
especially on like TV. And I thought that was a really cool finish in this one. And Mark's sell forward is awesome. Yeah, this was just a lot of fun. And this is like the first 2000 the fall 2003 run was the first time where it really feels like Mark Henry had finally figured it all out. He still had some levels to ascend to, which he does, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But he's finally figured out kind of what his strengths are and where he needs to go as a wrestler. And I think this run is kind of unheralded just for that. Nothing's going to... He doesn't have anything as good as the later 3 matches, not even as close to as good as those matches, I don't think. But this run is the first inkling of him being someone that you can actually like sink your teeth into and use in a very meaningful way.
I think it's a big part of that is him finding the kind of monster he's going to be, right? Like you mentioned the word kind of preying on, stalking, whatever word you want to use. Like he had many physical gifts. He was never going to be like a guy who created chaos like, Stan Hansen, right?
Yeah.
Like he was never going to, he had to be more deliberate with it. And I think he had to almost make it part of the act that he was like this. Lumbering's not right because he was bare after them, but you get what I mean, right? Like he was a lot more cerebral than that. Which by the end of his career, he made part of his act, and the announcers really was able to put it over strong. But still really interesting. You see some of that here, and dare I say, Alex, I think Shawn Michaels is quite good here. Oracle and I seem to agree on that. Let's see where you stand. What did you make of this one?
Oh yeah, this is before Shawn Michaels became wholly offensive. I think he's
Sure.
still.
Holy, what a word!
No, it's Shawn's good here. Shawn always had some really solid punches, and that's on display in this match. And yeah, I think what Oracle was kind of wrapping up there. I remember like Mark Henry being pretty consistent TV wrestler at this point. Of the Goldberg match slaps, but like aside from like that and this, it's not like anything you're going to find is going to be something that you're ready to throw out there as a hidden gem per se. But yeah, this is good. His offense looks really good. What you could say of like he looks more reckless, but obviously in a more controlled way than the first two. We talked about some of his what I saw personally, and you know I've watched a lot of Mark Henry. Is he seemed almost too timid in like the first stage of his career of like being really worried he's going to hurt somebody or worried that he's going to lay something in, brother. And here he's kind of like more comfortable with what he's able to do, and he does some stuff. And he, of course, look, I have my thoughts on Shawn Michaels. Something I will never say is that he doesn't have a fantastic track record of big guy, little guy matches. And even though this is a small TV match, it's where he shines, is like, the bear hug and all that shit. At one point, Jim Ross says, Mark Henry is thick. And I was like, and yeah, the finish rules. Mark Henry goes for, we mentioned him earlier, he goes for the Vader bomb, and Shawn has a counter, puts his knees up. Shawn kips up, hits the sweet chin music out of nowhere, and there was the Mad D name drop earlier, and I responded to something of his yesterday, and I don't want him to think I was being antagonistic towards him, but to the point of like leg slaps and all that shit. Shawn Michaels was a master at that, and I was thinking of that here when he hit this super kick. Like, he was a guy, the sound was always there, but it never like was obvious, and never like it was not one of those things that drew attention to it. And Shawn was great at it too, because it felt like it was the momentum of the move, and it carried it through, in a Tajiri type fashion. Yeah, this is fun, man. There's a lot of Brother, 2003 Raw is peaks and valleys, but I think there were a couple consistent performers throughout that time, and obviously Shawn was doing a lot of good shit at that time. So yeah, this is a fun match, and I think as far as the evolution of Mark Henry, a really good inclusion.
It's funny you bring up that that quote tweet, because there was a lot of discussion about that as to what you were really trying to achieve there. Some of us, I'm not going to name any names, took that as a sort of pledge of loyalty and allegiance to Josh Barnett, who had already attacked our friend Matt on social. Attacked strong. Josh, I'm kidding. But he had made his stance clear, and some of us, again, not naming names, did take your quote tweet as your way of kind of saying, Bloodsport forever, I'm still with you, Josh. What would you say to those pretty severe allegations, quite frankly?
I plan on being one of the 7 people that buys the Josh Barnett Big Rubber guy, so I suppose that my allegiance is already out there. No, I mean, most of these conversations have either been had off air or behind the paywall, but I think most of y'all know what my current stance on Bloodsport is.
And we do need to stress, in the name of branding, while Alex definitely has Bella Twins shirt, that is an inspiration.
Oh, yes.
Iconic shirt. Both great, right? 2 of the great teams, Brainbusters, Rock and Roll, Iconics, Bellas.
Brother, you imagine
Demolition.
those two? That would have to happen like in a Japanese ring, fucking Miracle Violence, Steiner Brothers style. It's,
they actually never did anything together, right? That's crazy.
No, the timelines never matched up.
Oh, shit.
And then also just in the name of branding, because we love Matt D here, he and I hashed out our differences on the Twitter, and we're good,
We love Matt D. Yeah,
no, we do. Yeah,
we love.
That was the thing. I wanted to respond because I didn't want to think I was digging on him. I told him what my problem was. It was like a lot of wrestlers suck now and don't know how to throw a punch. That's the bigger issue.
I love wrestling Twitter because you can say stuff like, "I told him what my problem was," and we all go, "Yeah, makes sense. You would do that on Twitter about wrestling. If you said this to a normal person, what are you talking about, dude?" Well, we were discussing fire slaps and the merits of them, and personally, I believe a good fire slap can be very effective. Very effective. A good
like that?
Yeah.
It was that
really good.
Justin Huang, he got in there with me and Matt. And
Yeah.
he said
did?
Yeah, because he was saying like he was the one who name dropped Tajiri. He was like, if a guy can make it look like part of their motion of what they're doing, it can add to it. I'm like, yeah. No, my point is that like a bunch of fucking wrestlers aren't learning how to throw a punch because it's a lot easier to do like this on a forearm or like a fucking headbutt or something. So that's the bigger problem. But yeah, it makes it look good. It makes who I know for a fact has slapped his thigh many times, and I lose my shit every time he does, is Roderick Strong, because he makes it count, makes it look good in his matches.
That was really well done. You saved face big time there. I thought you really... I could tell when I put you in the hot seat there, for a minute people were going, what was he up to with this Josh Barnett thing? And you really won him back with that Roddy Strong salvo at the end, and the iconic shirt.
Yeah.
Beautifully played.
Roddy Strong versus Mark Henry, I think there's two versions of them that would match up really well.
Oh, Roddy would absolutely try and pick him up, wouldn't he? No question.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. He would do that fucking half Nelson backbreaker on Mark Henry.
Let me explain my finish, bruh. Just turn his ear off.
And Mark would give that big smile he has. No.
He's lacing his boot up. All right, so my finish is called the end of heartache, and Mark, not tonight, brother.
Sick kick, 1 count. Bobby, what did you make of this? This is right at your alley, Bobby. 2003 Raw. Holy shit, dude. How was you feeling watching this? Emotional?
I was thrilled. I was happy. Trying to remember if I watched it originally first run. I'm sure I did. Yeah, I'm kind of with everyone. He looks a lot better, looks a lot more confident here. Realize that you can catch a guy in a crossbody and ram him into the post, and that'll always be a good big guy move. Finish ruled. I think Shawn gave him quite a bit. I think they did what they had to do. And this is also the Raw that LeBron's at. I don't know if he was still there for this. I didn't see him, but it's a famed LeBron James Raw.
With that in mind, Bob, where's he going?
I thought Cleveland this entire time. Now I don't know, because they're trying to keep Harden. Philadelphia makes sense, I guess. He should just go to it depends what he's looking for, because the retirement tour is going to be big no matter where he goes, and Cleveland might be too much pressure, especially since he already won the title there. If he wants another ring, he should really just... I know people have pitched Denver. I think that'd be a lot of fun. San Antonio, if he really wants to go for it. But Philadelphia, man, I think they'd have as good a chance as anyone.
Wow. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. I worry about that lineup because there's only one ball, but
yeah,
if indeed he's a sixer, I will immediately erase all of the things I've said about it being a bad fit and just go, yes, here he is, King James. But he'd have announced that shit on July 4th if he was going to Philly, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Nonetheless, right, that's the most LeBron thing ever in Philly, press conference on July 4th. All right, nonetheless, guess where we're going next, fellas? He gets hurt in OVW training. This is what I think. This is the rope thing I think we mentioned earlier. I think this is it. Cornette was still there in 05, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the Santino thing that got him canned, right?
In fact, he definitely was there because this was 04, so he was definitely there because this was Johnny Ace, Cornette yelling at each other. So this would have been it. So he gets hurt in training.
Thank you. Can't they fucking pretend?
Yeah, all-timer. He's out for over a year.
When is the time where he's going to... There's the story of him, he's going to let his contract expire, or they let it lapse, and he says he's going to go be an actor?
I have no idea. No clue.
All right, I'll have to... Mr. Fuji will investigate. I know there's a weird spat that he leaves for. But anyway, he's out for a year. What does he injure on the ropes thing?
I have no idea. I guess so. I mean, the rope snapped on him, apparently, so pretty rough. Someone in the chat, maybe. That was 2006. He had a 10-year contract. Okay, so in 06, probably before they reboot him, probably then, right? I guess, or maybe after that. I don't know. I didn't see this. I apologize. I was too busy preparing for the Matt D question. He said they were going to Hollywood and they gave him another 10-year contract. That is outstanding. Good for him. So yeah, he's out for over a year. He comes back. He shakes some rust off in late 05 OVW. There it is again. And then he returns to SmackDown. Then that year, start of 06, with the infamous cage door situation that Oracle referenced earlier, which is I was researching it earlier. I feel that's kind of lost lore for the young folk. That was like a big thing, right? The fact that like it was a shoot, they didn't gimmick it all, so he just had to pull it for like 5 minutes, and they edited it in post. I googled it earlier, and most people talking about it were like, do you remember how cool it was when he did that? And I was thinking, yes, but we used to talk about the fact that he couldn't. It was not gimmicked for him. He had to just keep yanking at the poor fucking thing for 5 minutes. I think it's been a lost matter of some sort, a lore. If you
That
will.
was like OG Botchamania stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like, he has like his foot up on the cage as he's like pulling it, like you know, me plunging a toilet. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Let's get it right. This is not to dunk on Mark Henry, because the fact he breaks it eventually is fucking insane. But the reason it was Botchamania was because it wasn't gimmicked, and it was supposed to be a thing where he just snatched it off like Kane in Hell in a Cell, right? And instead he's just like yanking at the poor thing. But he did it all was amazing.
Was it a rib? Do we know if it was like them fucking with him, or?
I don't know if we do, but I mean, I was gonna say it sounds like him, but it's also like a main event angle with Dave Bautista. So like,
That's true. There was that one famous rib they did on him where he like said he would legitimately wanted to kill Vince McMahon. Yeah.
We will get there. Absolutely. That's really important, actually. Yeah, we'll get to that. That rolls. So this whole thing is a catastrophe. He's supposed to be the program for Dave Bautista. Bautista gets hurt. Kurt Angle steps in as the champion. They need a contender. They're still going to go Mark Henry. And to get that very shot, he faces Rey Mysterio on SmackDown on January 20th, 2006, taped on the 15th. Rey Mysterio, Mark Henry, Friday Night SmackDown. This is an era of Mark Henry that I think is very forgotten, which is Melina is with him. Just for a moment here. How long does that last, Oracle? Do you know?
It lasts not that long. It just lasts maybe like 2 months. It's not very long at all. It's just a couple of months long. Basically through the Angle program for the title at the Rumble, and then I think he like teams with Eminem and maybe a 6-man or 2 or something.
Oh shit!
February,
Well,
March,
that's
or something.
Daivari turns on Angle and goes with Mark, I believe.
Yep. That's what happened. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, Bobby.
Shawn Daivari
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
was with Kurt Angle.
Lead producer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was with Angle for quite a bit in 2005 when Angle was on Raw, and then he turned on him and went with Mark Henry.
Sure.
You watching Jack Evans, bro?
That's right, baby.
Alex, have you heard Gabe Sapolsky's pitch for Melina on his version of WWE ECW if he was given the book?
No, I watched Ring of Honor in real time, so I know how Gabe feels about women. But what was this pitch?
I recently showed it to the Grinners. He did one of those guest bookers, and he does ECW, and like his big thing that I will admit fascinated me. See, this simple thing of basically going to be no Angles, no just going to wrestle Eminem, London, and Kendrick every week on ECW, like not every week, but often, which is very ECW and also the right thing for those teams, right? Probably.
Yeah.
But his big twist was before December to Dismember, double turn. Melina goes with Lundrick and turns on Eminem, and I was sitting there just going, what would that look like? Would that? I don't know if that would have worked, but I was intrigued by the idea. Your thoughts, Alex?
Yeah, because I don't think anyone's really going to let London and Kendrick cut their promos. So, but I don't even remember. Was Melina any good at talking?
I don't know. I mean, she wasn't a great pro. She had a lot of personality. I don't know if she was a great promo. She was definitely a better promo than they were in that setting, I'll say. Because Kendrick actually found his own kind of style for promos, didn't he? Eventually.
Oh, Paul London was an incredible promo. It's just that there's no way Vince McMahon was going to let him on his TV do that. What I could say is what they would end up doing was synchronizing their entrances, where she stands on the apron, and then they do that gimmick where they slide in, and after they slide in, she does the splits. So there would have been at least some show business to it.
Interesting. Do you know the main event of his December to Dismember?
Was Punk in it?
Ric Flair versus Randy Orton, ECW title. Yep. Beast mode. Nonetheless, he wrestles Rey Mysterio.
Gabe?
No. God, I wish.
We need more green lasers.
So, this is my favorite match on the lineup. I don't think it's going to be Alex's favorite match on the lineup, but I think this match is like amazing. I want to be very clear and say Mark Henry is really good in this match. I think Rey Mysterio in this match is like a level of babyface that should legit be like studied in wrestling schools, because he never dies on the cell. He's it's actually a lot more back and forth than you would think, because it's David versus Goliath, right? But he's constantly making Mark earn it, and he makes Mark better in the match as a result. He doesn't just, oh, you cut me off, I'm just going to die, right? Like, he's fighting back, he's throwing strikes, he's running the ropes, he's doing these creating motion. This is perfection. Bobby, what did you make of this match? I sense, it's not probably going to be at that level of review from everyone here, but did you like it at least?
I did, and it's something that Ray is always very good at, the David and Goliath matches. It's something that he'll do pretty much every week the first half of 2006, unfortunately, with, that whole thing. But yeah, I just kept throwing kicks, kept throwing drop kicks, just doing whatever he could. And yeah, I mean, you don't really realize, like, he hits him with 3-6-1-9s. He gives him everything he has. It's just not enough. And, just gets rolled through at the end for the World's Strongest Slam, which I thought was really cool as well. And also just, like, the parts of this match where Mark's just like, and that happens a lot in David and Goliath matches too, where it's just like Mark's just bullying him. He's just standing on him, like just walking over him. Like it's good stuff, man. I really enjoyed it.
I did too, Bobby. If someone's enjoying this stream, how could they show us that?
Go ahead and smash that like button.
Oh, baby.
We have something from Dave for the first time tonight as well.
Tell me.
Best match on the show wasn't close. Was Henry versus Mysterio. After watching Henry constantly stink up the joint in OVW, even next to guys in training school that he was well below their level, he has this 3 1/4 match with a guy 230 pounds lighter and played a very effective main event monster role. With this match and with SmackDown, you can't discount the magic of editing. But there wasn't a moment where you saw Henry as anything but a headliner.
Dude, the idea of Dave watching the fucking OVW TV and just calling Jimmy immediately and going, oh, baby, what do you got going on down there? Just every week, Tell me about Mark Henry, just talking each other's ear off. Like teenagers dating, God love them, but, just tell me more. Just for every topic. Dave getting his fucking OVW TV tape, but nonetheless, he liked the match. Oracle, I sense you liked the match. It's very good.
Oh, this is one of those matches about 20 years ago when I was on a phone call with my brother and he'd say,
I was going to say with Dave or Cornette.
No. On a phone call with Dylan and he'd be like, hey, I distinctly remember him being like, Rey Mysterio and Mark Henry, gotta watch it. Gotta see it. And this holds up 20 plus years later.
It's
tremendous match. Outstanding. I mean, just as you pointed out, Rage is just, he makes Mark work for everything. There are some awesome cutoffs here. Big clothesline. The big, running, just, body bash that the big monsters always do, which I love. Just some absolutely awesome. It was really thrilling to watch.
yes.
Because there's so much. There's no inactivity. But it's structured and paced and done so well. It's not a go match either. It's just it's like the perfect monster versus little man match. Awesome match. Always love the finish when Mark rolls through on the fucking World's Strongest Slam. Badass. At this point, 06 is when he finally completes. He figures it out entirely in the ring. I think the promos and stuff,
Right.
2011 is when he completely has the overall package. But in terms of in the ring, I think it's 06 is the point where it's like, oh yeah, you can actually.
Mm-hmm.
This guy has extreme value.
Yeah, and you can tell by the way Ray puts him over, like, this is an earnest attempt to make him a top guy, because he smashes him over. Like, he, like Dave said it, right? He came off like a major deal here. And we know it'd be a little bit of a false dawn in terms of push, but performance-wise, I agree with you. The pieces are in place, and he's ready to soar. Alex, what did you make of this, my friend?
Very good. Mark Henry's theme song was terrible here. I don't know what was going on with that, but yeah, I have my fun with Ray, but like this, maybe it's just like the big guy, little guy match that seems to always do the trick for me. But I loved the part in this where he was using the 619 to chop him down, did it to his back first and then to his gut and then, to the head. Oracle, I came in as he was mentioning it. The cutoff clothesline Henry hits him with in this is scintillating. It is
brutal.
wonderful. Did you catch at one point in this we just passed the 50th anniversary, Joe. Rey Mysterio is channeling his inner Inokiism. He's laying on his back doing the leg kicks from the ground, a la Antonio Inoki versus Muhammad Ali.
He's like sticking and moving early too.
Yeah,
awesome.
Good shit. I just like how he's chopping him down, but I also love the finish. And yeah, Mark Henry looks like a god on the finish of this. Like with, you can tell Ray's like, I think he's probably supposed to do the frog splash, but Mark's so far away. He's like, fuck it, I'm just jumping at him. And then gets on the whole roll back and then picks him up and world's strongest slam. Yeah, this is great. We've done so much Ray. It feels like it's been like a wide variety. And also, not just on the grappler, but we talked about the Sabu match recently. And the one that sticks that's coming to mind is the Eddie Grin Grappler we did, the match we had, which is, from relatively the same time period, right? Around the same time the year before. And yeah, I mean, he was obviously the MVP of that television program at this time and does a lot to make Mark Henry look awesome. And he does. Now, is the angle match any good? That I don't know.
It's time for the main event. Here we go. So Matt D has come up a lot on this program and he's going to come up again because I have spent most of my adult life under the assumption that universally it was agreed upon the match fucking sucked. It was the main event of Royal Rumble 2006, and one thing that we can all agree on, it died live, right? The crowd hated the match. They rejected the match. However, the master of the zig when you expect a zag, recently Matt D emerged on the timeline with what appeared to be not only a defense of the match, but even better, and even more Matt D, he actually framed it as like, one of the few times Kurt really got it right here, Have a look at this. And I thought that was outstanding. So this is the time to ask the Oracle of Wrestling, is that match good?
I'm afraid I haven't watched it in about 20 years and 6 months.
Because this was the infamous thing, right? It was the main event because the Undertaker.
6 on pay-per-view in my parents' living room.
It was the main event because the Undertaker, and it doesn't feel like a main event at all. The crowd rejects it entirely. Bob, as an expert of the era, where do you stand on this very controversial matter?
Yeah, it's not very good. I'm with you. I think we kind of all agree that it was bad, and we've had to revisit it, I guess. But I don't think anyone actually has, except for Matt D.
I remember Matt posted a clip of like Kurt on the outside fencing and being like, see, finally a guy who explained to him how this works. And this is outstanding. That's the next level of posting, isn't it, And you can tell there's a lot of people engagement that don't even know the match reputation or looking at the clip going, bloody good, to be fair, which is a sign you've done a good post, has to be said. So very well played. From what I remember, the match is really bad, but we'll just blame Kurt. Let's do that. He has a program with The Undertaker. And there was allegedly talk of him ending the streak, which has been said enough that I actually believe it to be true. This is another match I revisited because God love Mob, but he did take his pod, and they talked about this like it was just an absolute classic. Like, that's where I learned psychology, And I watched it, and I was like, that was all right. Alex, what you going to say?
I remember two things from it. One, Taker does the dive over the casket, which looks cool.
Yeah.
He doesn't get Henry up for the tombstone, does he?
I don't think so. It's been a couple years.
I'm pretty sure they do that gimmick where Henry does the 10 punch and then he does like the last ride or some shit.
And then he rolls him into the casket, right?
The other thing is the opening video package of WrestleMania 22, big time. It's like
so much
larger he does.
than life.
I don't remember that at all.
Holy shit. That's a lot of trust from fucking Mark Henry into Big Calloway. But I can just hear Undertaker now. Gloop, getting him up for it. But the other thing I remember was there's a big time video package for it where they'd put in a Mark Henry sound drop. It's like, big time, and I'm going to take your undefeated streak this Sunday, WrestleMania. It's just fucking big, angry, sweaty Mark Henry in the middle of it. I remember that WrestleMania specifically, like contemporaneously at the time, people thought was like amazing. And I remember when it was over, I was like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, when I watched this particular match, I was like, I honestly thought it was better than its reputation, because this is considered, I think, historically, like, one of the big Taker, WrestleMania misses, right? And honestly, sadly for Mark,
it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But sadly for Mark, this is like the last Mania match Taker has that feels like this, right? Because after this, they fully become like spectacles of themselves, right? For better or worse, I'm not saying you have to like all those matches, but like this feels like just a match on the card by comparison to the other matches we're going to talk. Like, you talk about years later, where it's the year after this, he's in the title match, Edge in the main event, Shawn, Triple H, all that stuff. It's like the streak is important here, but it isn't to the level it would be in the years after this. Would that be fair to say? Yeah.
WrestleMania 28 is pretty sick, though, right, Oracle?
Moving on. Best part was I had to remember what I was like. What WrestleMania 28? I was like, oh, that shit.
Yeah. Whenever he does something like that, he's lying to you. You know it. It's just a matter of where has he gone and what do you need to be protecting yourself from. Nonetheless, he does not end the streak, obviously, and he is programmed with a returning Dave Bautista, which was obviously the original plan from SmackDown, and unfortunately he gets hurt. And
Jesus, man,
he takes out a number of people here because he takes out.
Yes,
he takes out Taker. Well, no, he doesn't. No, because that's like Taker and Khali. My bad. He takes out Benoit.
Is this a stretch where he's like legit injuring people?
This is a stretch where he's like taking people out. Yeah, I don't know if he's.
I think Benoit was a write-off. That was a TV write-off.
Yeah. That was a write-off, and then
carry on.
And then
he's gonna be a tax write-off in about a year.
So I remember the angle where
he waited all that
comes
time.
Back. So they did the angle where Batista comes back, and I think Mark's wrestling. Is he wrestling Ray for the title or something?
I'm not sure, but they were supposed to work on Saturday night's main event before Mark got hurt.
And the angle where Batista comes back and beats his ass is fucking awesome,
dude.
But I think is that when he gets hurt when Batista's like beating his ass?
I think it was on a spot show. I think he split his patella in two.
Oh, fuck!
And like, listen, if one of us did that, it'd be pretty severe, right? He's like 400 plus.
Yeah,
like it's fucking insane. That really could have and should have ended his career, honestly, right? And it does explain why he's a lot more selective in the later matches, right? Like he makes his bumps count as he should as a big man anyway. So, okay, so Mark Batista was supposed to be Great American Bash.
Where he gets hurt, and they're supposed to have the match because that's Great American Bash 06, which is like the famous show where that's a total disaster and nothing.
Thank you,
right.
don't have an app. Thank you, don't. My notes failed me. He returns the following May, so again, it's like another lost year, right?
That's when he takes out Taker and Edge catches it.
Yep. He works with Taker. They have a match, like a pay-per-view match, which I haven't seen but did not get rave reviews.
I've heard it's dreadful. Apparently Unforgiven 07 is like the worst show ever. I've never seen that show.
A legitimate Dave Dud, which respect.
They like main evented the show too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Yeah, because that's a show where Orton and Randy went like 7 minutes and then ended in a DQ, and I think Randy like beats the shit out of John Cena Sr. or whatever.
Wrestling's so awesome, dude. Like some of these careers we talk about in hindsight, if they played out in front of us now, can you imagine our posting about it? like imagine us just posting through the Undertaker like in lulls, like just another shitty main event. Oh well. Like, legitimately, imagine if we posted the entire duration of Mark Henry's career, the amount of times we'd have been like, man, still didn't cut him, huh? Wow, that's crazy. Like, and he ends up having the fucking run we all love. It just shows you how off base we can be at times. But he then begins to flirt with ECW. and does some monster stuff with Big Daddy V and all the lads there, Kane and all that. And then he kind of just floats around and like he works with top guys on Raw, like in just like 3-minute matches. Like he'll lose to Triple H, for example. And then after Mania in June, he's moved to ECW. What's up, Alex?
What is that? Didn't they have a match called like the Monster Mash or some shit? It was him, Kane, Khali,
Big Daddy V,
A Monster Mash Battle Royal.
Yep.
someone else.
and that was like
No,
at the
those four.
request.
Oh,
It was at the request of Sci-Fi, right? To have like something they could market as like the monsters or some shit.
yeah.
Yes.
Y'all watched that last October for Halloween, right?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't know,
Because y'all
we do a
watched
lot
one
of
of the WWE Vault. It was on WWE Vault, and I think y'all watched it.
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I know that's a match that like does great on YouTube. Like it does crazy views on YouTube. So
Oracle, since we're at the ECW phase, did Mark Henry and Tommy Dreamer have any good matches?
So I do remember one match actually being pretty good, actually.
wow, interesting. Before we go further in that direction, let's put a bow on Act 2 with the move to ECW. How does that work for you guys? Let's do that, because that's, while it's only ECW, it is kind of the preview of the push that was coming up later, right? In some ways, like he wins the world title, but you get my point. Any other match you want to call out from this Act 2? This would be like 2000 to 2006. Yeah.
Let's see. I actually kind of like the Booker match from Armageddon 03. He has a couple of other matches with Ray, one or two from 06 that are really good. Not quite as good as January 20th match, but they're pretty good. I really like the Matt Hardy match from ECW TV where I think he wins the belt. Or maybe Matt wins the belt from him, I think. I can't quite remember.
Yes,
but that
you're
match
correct.
is awesome.
Yeah. Matt wins it from him.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah, those are kind of the ones that stand out, right? Like,
yeah.
02 Brock, when Brock's on the ascent, they have a quick match on SmackDown. That's a hoot.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Goldberg match, which we talked about, and then it was already posted, but my North Star, the Team Austin versus Team Bischoff 10-man tag is really good. I mean, to Oracle's point, in like 03, and I mean, if you're doing any sort of like, well, you can't anymore legally, but if you're doing any skimming of Raws or something, I mean, his shit wasn't bad. It was a lot of like, he was like trying new stuff at that time, and it, in a lot of ways, produced some pretty entertaining stuff.
You did, Bobby, any matches to call out from this golden age for yourself?
No, not really. The Brock match is a lot of fun if you want to check that out. I think he wrestles Ray again the week after the one we watched. It's not as good, but it's fun enough if you enjoyed their chemistry together.
Very good. Shows you how well that match went, right? The next match, just do it again. Best way to do it. So, June 2008 draft, move to ECW, gets an immediate chance for the belt, wins in a freeway with Kane and the Big Show, I believe. Kane, who had won it, of course, at Mania. And then he drops to Matt a couple months later. But Oracle, look, again, I just want to stress, ECW belt isn't obvious, but I do think for fans it did something for him perception-wise. We should stress, I believe this was the second title he'd won full stop. Like, that was it. Like, he'd won hardly anything in that regard. So, I think it is relevant, right, to what eventually happens to him as a top guy. Like, it's, he's getting a chance to run with the belt. It matters.
Right, yeah. It probably was somewhat of a test run. I think it was probably, to see if how it went. And I think it went well enough to where they did, eventually find a way to use him. It took a couple more years, but they finally found a way to kind of use him in that similar role. The unique thing about the ECW title run is he was Monster Henry, but like the Tony Atlas edition was a bizarre. Like at first it was kind of cool. Then it became comedy and like I don't know. It became very weird. And then once it started to kind of fall apart, he got drafted to Raw. I do believe there's an Evan Bourne singles match from ECW in 09. That's
They have a
quite good.
Yeah, they have a program before he leaves
Mhm.
ECW, and we should note too that he does get on Mania in 09. He's in the Money in the
Yeah,
Bank
he's
match.
in the Money in the Bank match.
There's the main spot I remember in that match is this sick thing they do where like a ladder's like propped against him, or he's like holding a ladder kind of at an angle, and Kofi runs up the ladder, and then Mark just like drops it, so the feet go like the bottom goes out from under Kofi, and on the way down, Henry catches him and then gives him a world's strongest slam on the ladder. It's fucking awesome. And circling back, or just going back a pace to the Tony Atlas thing, that era of Tony Atlas and WWF bred one of my favorite stories of that time, where apparently he saw Punk getting ready for a match, and he goes, "What are you gonna do if they book you in a damn tape fist match?" Because Punk's like taping his fists up, and Punk had to be like, "Tony, I don't think they're gonna book me in a tape fist match anytime soon."
There's the thing where, like, I think it's the K-Vape commentary shoot where they ask Myers, like, any fun Atlas stories? And he just goes, he's just really fucking annoying. Just very bluntly just puts an end to it. But,
dude, I was just quick. My
Yeah.
story was I was listening to the new Major episode today. I sent you that clip, but another one that was fucking epic was they were talking about their how Mattel and all these companies now make these Hasbro style figures, right? And they were talking about their collections, and Cardona was trying to figure out where he draws the line into people he collects, because he likes to collect those before he got into wrestling. And they're having this whole discussion, and he goes, "Well, what about Cena? I got to keep Cena." And Myers goes, "Why?" He goes, "Because he was in wrestling. He was wrestling before I got into the business." And Myers goes, "So was LA Knight."
I love that, like, it's everyone's favorite thing how old LA Knight is. Like, it just pops me huge. Everyone referenced it. Like, I remember Buddy messing around with it. I know they're friends from developmental, but Buddy was like, LA Knight's like 60 years old. Nonetheless, ECW. Yeah, so he does Money in the Bank. He goes to Raw. He turns babyface, which I believe is the raising of the roof that was referenced earlier.
Tremendous.
He forms a team with MVP, which leads to this. Bob O'Neill, do you like the red singlet?
No.
No.
It's
Wow,
weird.
fair.
It doesn't work on him.
Oh, shit. Interesting. That was a very, very blunt answer there. Oracle, do you like the red singlet?
The red singlet?
Yeah.
I don't mind the red singlet.
Alex, split the tire.
Henry had a couple singlets that left nothing to the imagination. He didn't use one of those gimmicks to, stuff or anything like that. The red singlet was not one that I particularly enjoyed. My favorite Mark Henry gear is what we see in the Randy Orton match.
Tremendous. Thank you. Do they do anything like good, Oracle, as a team? Because that sounds like a team I would like to see.
The Jericho match is fun.
Yeah.
They have a couple fun matches with Jericho. I think there's one on Raw that goes like insanely long. Let me cage match this real quick and see.
Okay. While you do that, I also feel it's relevant to note that following the team, he floats around as a losing singles and mentors Lucky Cannon on NXT. Any memories of Lucky Cannon, Alex?
Who the fuck is Lucky Cannon?
No clue. No idea. Bob, anything on Lucky Cannon?
No, I don't know who that ended up being. I don't think it's...
It didn't. I think it was Lucky Cannon. I think that was...
No. Yeah, it's just his name, I guess. No. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
How many seasons did they do of that where it was the mentor game show? Was it like 3?
I think it's 3.
Yeah, because then one of the seasons is the one that like never ends, right? They just get stuck there, like on a desert island, I think.
All right, let's see if we can pull this together. The brain trust. The first season was Barrett, right? Barrett won.
Second was Key. Or Caval, sorry.
Oh yeah, he was with Lay Cool. That's right. I don't remember anybody else.
Okay, I found it. So they had like a 15-minute match where they beat Jericho in a non-title match on August 24th.
15. Wow, interesting.
And then the pay-per-view was Breaking Point, which is decent, pretty decent. They lose Jericho 12 minutes, 15 seconds. Breaking Point.
15-minute TV match, bro. Who is it? Meechin and BFAB?
Oh, no, I was right. They have a third match for the title where they go 20 minutes.
For the strap.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Why?
it's Jericho versus Mark Henry and MVP, 19 minutes, 30 seconds, September 28, 2009 Raw.
I will be watching this. Thank you.
And Henry
Okay.
and MVP were the babyface team?
Yep.
God bless.
Caitlin.
Caitlin
Dango.
ruled. Dango
Never
ruled.
ended 5th season.
Okay.
Honestly, though, they did pretty well with that 4, right? It's a hell of a Survivor Series team, as you would say, Alex.
That's right.
Okay. So yeah, they have that run. Dude, if you look at his 2010 usage, it makes what he does the year after even more insane. He is legitimately like just losing like 3-minute matches to Cody Rhodes on TV and like just floating around and just like he would just pop out he would do house shows because by this point he's a guy who comes out in the house show and the crowd pops because they know him, like it's Mark Henry. On TV, he legitimately just emerges like once a month and just does a job for a couple minutes. Like I think Ziggler beat him in like 3 minutes on Raw. And Ziggler didn't beat anyone at that time.
I was about to say, Jesus,
Yeah.
Vince must have hated him.
Yeah, it was crazy.
In that Money in the Bank match in 2010, that's fucking awesome. Where like they have to use Big Show's in the SmackDown one, and Mark Henry's in the Raw one, but they like both work the match around like both matches are worked around the size of Mark Henry and Big Show, and it's actually kind of fucking rules.
Was 2010 the first year? So in 2010 there were 3 Money in the Bank matches.
There were 2. No, you're right. Sorry, you're right. Because 26 was the last one.
Jesus Christ!
The pay-per-view was. Yep. You're right.
Again and again and again and again and again and again.
And he's then moved to SmackDown in 2011 and obviously turns heel, and that sets up the run, the defining run of his career. The story goes, and I don't know the exact timeline on this, but the story goes, he was out there to work a dark match against Sin Cara, or do something with Sin Cara. Sin Cara might have been teaming with him. And they ribbed him, and no one came out. And generally, very jovial character that I think they thought was going to just laugh about it. Got very, very, very mad. Very angry.
There's footage of this, by the way.
Yes, there is. And the story goes that this was the blueprint for the Mark Henry that would dominate SmackDown, because the idea was like, he unlocked a level of anger they hadn't seen on camera before because he was legitimately mad. Now, obviously, look, this is somewhat Hollywooded up, I'm sure, but the point of it is that he had projected a level of menace to a point, but this was something different because they actually were scared of him because he was really fucking angry. And imagine being in close proximity to Mark Henry when he's sincerely angry. That's probably a pretty scary experience, right? So, that's the story. It's a great story. And, he very quickly gets rolling on SmackDown. He works for Sheamus, and the story goes that they made a decision very early, like, we're going to Mark Henry. And Christian and Randy's job was just to keep the things moving and keep it good in the meantime while they got Mark Henry ready to be world champion. I actually want to kind of put a stop here and just talk about this for a second. Mark Henry may be the biggest example of the brand split's value to talent ever. Because, and let's be clear, we mentioned this earlier, the house is in 03, 04, 05, whatever. You can debate the brand split's impact on business all day long. I think it's fair to say there's a lot of evidence it didn't really work business-wise, right? Because it diluted things. But there is no way he lasts this long in a non-brand split WWE. No shot. And he definitely doesn't get the run we're about to talk about in a non-brand split WWE, right? Like, they never would have needed to make Mark Henry to level that to make him in 2011 SmackDown. Yeah. They had to. It's a necessity. Oracle, it's kind of lost somewhat in conversation. We compare guys' careers through history. It's undeniable, right? Mark Henry's career is inherently different if they never do a brand split. There's no way he lasts this long, I feel like, let alone get this run. Am I wrong, Oracle?
Oh yeah, there's no way. He is absolutely. He's also the last. He's the last true push on the brand split in the brand split, because they started pushing him before they decided to do the Raw Super Show.
Exactly.
Raw SmackDown Super Show.
Yeah.
Once they did the Raw SmackDown Super Show in the summer of 2011, SmackDown was already just like being diminished entirely.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time Raw 1000 happened, it was basically like, yeah, the world champion would be there every week. Like Big Gold Belt champion would be there every week. But like, it wasn't it wasn't a brand anymore. They were the only one that was good. They were the only one that was there every week.
Mhm.
Everybody else was already on, and they were on Raw too. You know,
Yeah.
he was like the last big brand push. Danielson kind of was pushed pretty hard, mainly on SmackDown in late 2011 too. But really, the Mark Henry push was the last one. I did want to note that I remember he turned face at the 2009 draft, right? And then he turned heel at the 2011 draft. He turned on Ray. So he attacked Ray at the 2011 draft in April 2011 when he was drafted over to SmackDown. Turned on Ray on that Raw draft special. Turned heel. And he feuded with Kane. Took out Kane. Because this was like the end of like bald, maskless Kane. And then it came at the end, back at the end of 2011 with the welder's mask and all that shit.
Yeah, Jesus.
Embrace the hate.
Yeah, and legitimately one of the worst feuds of all time. By the way, Cena and Kane.
It was literally they just needed someone they knew that was so safe that wouldn't hurt Cena before that match with The Rock. That's like what it was.
That's so pro wrestling. Though.
I remember the main event of the Rumble 2012. Did they not?
Oh God, I know they had the 2 pay-per-view matches. Like they did that, and then Jesus.
And they kill Zack Ryder too. They push him off the stage.
The Ryder bump is insane, though. Good God,
it is wild. Like there's no like fucking smoke or mirrors. He just throws him off the stage.
That was nuts.
Wow, but, Matt in our chat said his first wrestling show ever live was Kane's first match back with the mask against Cena, an MSG house show. Wow.
I don't envy that. So he takes out the Big Show as well in the summer of 2011. People forget.
Wow.
And then the Big Show comes back later in the fall.
They have the program,
yeah. But it was it was really well done because they established him as this dangerous heel. I also think, if I'm not mistaken, Sin Cara gets hurt in the ladder match, and then like he takes. If I'm right, he does an angle where like he attacks Sin Cara backstage or something to like put him out for his injury.
I think you're correct. I think so.
And then that's when Sheamus challenges him. And he goes, "I'll fight you, fella."
That's how they turn Sheamus babyface.
Yes, that's exactly how he turned babyface. Literally, he goes, "I'll fight you, fella."
And Sheamus is like tasked with like getting Mark kind of ready to go, right? Because they work.
Because they have their SummerSlam match is pretty good. It has a cool finish where I think Mark Henry does the world's strongest slam through the barricade. I think
he does like this thing where he gets Sheamus up in the power slam position, and he does Bob called out, always a good spot where you run him back first into the post. Okay. And then he just kind of like cyclones him into the fucking barricade, and they go through it.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's
just it's amazing.
For a timestamp,
they set him up really well for the Hall of Fame run, and man, the promos where he would just like snarl and shit into the camera, and his sweat would like fly off, and that's what I do, and he'd like. Awesome. He was so like he had finally found the whole package, during the run.
The promos are the best part. He has really good matches in this run, to be clear, but like the promos are the best part because the promos in this era were not. Listen, don't let Punk fool you, dude. Take away him, the promos were so like cookie cutter and clean. Like,
and as someone who's liked some of Cena's best promos, Cena in particular in this period
was his worst. Yeah,
dude, Orton was so bad.
Everyone was so produced. Yeah. Alex, I wanted to so 2011, what would you were watching a lot of WWE in 2011, right?
That's kind of when I picked it back up. I always I talked about on our Dwayne episode, it was when Dwayne came back, and then but I wasn't watching every week.
So like what would have been your read on the kind of emerging conversation of, oh my God, they're actually like going with Mark Henry? Because I remember my brothers like being baffled when they found out he was world champion because they wasn't watching, like, do you have any memory of that whole time?
Oh yeah, definitely, because it was like what I kind of felt with it was what a lot of people would go through. What was that, 5 years after this, when fucking the Jinder Mahal thing? Like, people were
Yeah.
like, "What?" And that was kind of me. But Mark Henry had been in the WWF for 15 years at this point, man. Like, it was just kind of, it was out of nowhere. Difference being, we at the Late Night Grin love Jinder. Like, I remember seeing kind of his promos and stuff, and it was like, well, hold on. Like,
Yeah.
there seems to be something going on here. And the match with Sheamus was good, and yeah, it's what I'll say about it is the push and like the idea rested entirely on the payoff, which they fucking knocked out of the park.
Yes, they did. Let's get to it. September 18th, 2011, Randy Orton, Mark Henry. Randy Orton is one of the more debated and polarizing wrestlers of his time, and I think he has earned that reputation because he's had good nights and bad. However,
he is unfucking believable in this match.
And not only is he great performance-wise, holy shit, how business is he in this match, dude? Could he have done a better job to make Mark Henry? I mean, this is dramatic, but this is kind of an extended squash. Kind of.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right? Like, again, I say dramatic because he does keep out his finish, and there's more to it than that. It's like, over 10 minutes, but he really just does everything in his power, and Mark Henry is ready to go. He has a pre-match promo citing 15 years of frustration. What I love about this most is, I know we've got a million things to talk about with this, and I just want to go straight to, this is the highlight for you of this lineup. What I love about this match most is, as well as they build him up, you can tell the people still don't believe until they count 3.
Yeah.
And because it's his second World's Strongest Slam, they realize when he hits it, oh my God, he's going to win, but it's only when it's 3 that people are just stunned, and he relishes that because he's anything but surprised. This is pretty special as a moment, and I think beyond that, it's a damn good match, Alex. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I love this match. This is, I would, as far as timeline goes and also relevance of Randy Orton, like, I think the natural comparison is the fucking Death of Superman match that John Cena and Brock Lesnar have a couple years later. I find this match as, like, with the hindsight of time, I enjoy this more because while Brock and Cena is certainly a happening, and that Brock literally just kills him and Cena gets like 2 minutes of offense, Orton has like a game plan for this. And he tries to use it. He tries to stick and move early. He tries to use his quickness. He tries to, Garvin stomp, break him down. And, he tries to do all his shit and even hits his DDT at one point. It's just like none of it matters is the thing. And that's kind of the ending of this match is he knows he's fucked and he has like his kill shot and then that doesn't work. And so it's just, that's it. Mark Henry does hit, shockingly, a big boot higher than Hogan ever got in the beginning of this match. It's almost like a Yakuza kick. Did you see the way he goes at him with it? He turns with it. It's fucking great. And Orton, talk about being all business. There's a part in this where Orton's crouched on the top rope and Henry just fucking pie faces him and he takes a bump to the outside. I don't know how many more times Randy Orton did that in his career after this match. Like he's like all in on this. There's a part too where Mark Henry fucking Shinsuke Nakamura, in New Japan kicks Randy in the chest. Like the way the sound it makes is fucking ridiculous. He's just beating the shit out of him. Mark Henry tells him, "I told you it was going to be like this." It's top to bottom great. Randy has his attempted comeback with some punches, and Randy hit, to his credit, man. Randy Orton had a beautiful European uppercut, and he throws a few of those in this match. And I cited Kane's dropkick earlier. We do get the prettiest dropkick on this lineup here where Randy clears all the way to the top, his attempted comeback. Again, I mentioned it just a second ago. The finish of this match is wrestling is so simple, and I think people overcomplicate it. It's not even a critique. It's just on the finish, there's clearly Vince feeding the commentators lines, and I'm like, just shut up. Just like let it happen. And Randy just looks at him and knows he's fucked and goes for the RKO and it doesn't work and gets back up, walks into the World's Strongest Slam. And the crowd reaction on this is great. And there's a particular shot of it where there's a guy who appears to have probably been my age who's kind of on this side of the ring. It's a shot. It's not the hard cam. I'm looking at the angle of the pin, and he's standing there, and just like you said, Joe, he doesn't believe it. But when the 3 happens, he just like jumps out of his seat, like holy shit. And we talk about this all the time too. We've talked about in the Grin Grappler the importance of the reaction when you win a world title. And one of the big ones we talked about was when Lex beat Hogan, and he acted like he legitimately just won like a world championship. Mark Henry does too here, but he does it in the way of like, I fucking told you I was going to do this. Like,
Yep.
And he's walking around like, king shit a fuck mountain. And the crowd, like, the split reaction's great, and his promo after the match, the line he has of, nope, this is my moment, and I'm not sharing it with any of y'all. Like, it's from top to bottom, it is an elite presentation. And when I had that realization earlier, this is the same night as Punk and Triple H, like, I guess I just separated those mentally, because I always remembered this being like the highlight of the event it happened at. Phil and Paul is a highlight for very high comedic reasons, but like this is great. Just a spoiler alert, this is my favorite match in this lineup. And as far as like the extended squash of a top babyface in making a new dude, I made the Brock and Cena comparison earlier. Brock was already made. That was just kind of like an exclamation point they put on it. This is outstanding. This is like what can be accomplished, I guess is what I would say.
And in a weird way, and it sounds silly after the amount of praise we just give it, but it benefits from being an undercard match, because if it was a main event, they would have added an extra beat or two just to juice it up a little bit. Like you mentioned Cena and Brock. Brock kills him, but it's more, it's not cartoonish, is the wrong word for it, but this is a lot more blunt than that to me. Like, because it doesn't have the whole thing of like, oh my God, he keeps suplexing him. He just sort of slowly, cerebrally just dissects him and then beats him, right? If it was a main event, they would have added some kind of falsy in there for something. They would have added some extra beat
or something. Yeah. Like, this is just so straight up. It just works perfectly.
And what I always find interesting about this time in WWE, and any time really, because it's such a big, like, kind of machine, this is so different in tone, where, like, the post-match interview is so un-WWE the way it's presented, like, he tells you, you're going to interview me afterwards. It's like they do, like, a sports-style thing in the middle of this show in 2011. It's like, it's just fascinating the way those things could kind of bleed through. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Bobby, what did you make of this on rewatch, mate?
It's incredible. I don't know if I've ever seen this before, because this would have been like a month into me being at college. So I don't know if I would have been able to watch it, or I don't specifically remember watching it. But yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's kind of like you guys said, Mark Henry just kind of dissects him. And I think the finish is awesome. I think if you're going to make a guy, like you guys said, and Dave said it too, I'll get into that in a moment. But like, this is the way to do it. Like, you got to just go all in. And they did. And it really ended up being something special. And then I thought we were doing the Hell in a Cell match. So I watched that first because I got a little tripped up, and that one's not as good. But this is good stuff. Good stuff. And yeah, Dave said it was as clean a win as any heel has gotten over Orton or Cena in recent memory. It leads to Hell in a Cell rematch. It's been so long since the company had a true monster heel push like this. Probably dating back to Great Khali in 2006, and Khali was far more limited in what he could do. Henry can at least act the part. It would make sense to keep the title on him and have him title versus streak with Undertaker at WrestleMania. But it's an impatient period, and ratings are likely to be down. Plus, at 40, there's a question of durability in a top position when you're counted on to do more physicality than just be a guy in the pack. 2 3/4, which is very low, but
that was fucking awesome.
Good God.
He put it over stronger at 2 3/4, and then said, why don't they do the streak versus? That fucking ruled, dude. Whoa. There was so many different pieces there. We'll just leave it there. But Randy Orton's a fascinating guy, right? Like, you could hear a description of him that's entirely odds of what he does here, and you could also hear descriptions that make you go, yeah, makes sense. Like, he's just interesting individual, unique cat, I think it's fair to say. The Oracle of Wrestling, I think this is more than a 2 3/4 for you. What did you think? The Oracle of Wrestling is muted. I can see he's shaking his head in excitement, but he's...
Yeah, this match is awesome. I remember getting a phone call from my brother, and he used to go watch these shows at a bar down in South Carolina, and said, gave me the whole rundown and was praise galore over this one. And he wasn't wrong. I was also in college at the time, and I didn't start watching by the very legal means that I did until TLC 2011.
Mhm.
So I missed my dad ordered Survivor Series 2011, and I was across the river from my parents, so I just went over and watched Survivor Series before going back to campus. But this was a brief period where I didn't get to see very many pay-per-views, and he was my source of information on what was going down. And this match is awesome. I saw it the first time, probably, I don't know, the week or so afterwards on social media somewhere. And man, this match is just wow. As y'all put it, what a way to put somebody over. Perfectly worked, perfectly timed. We put together. The finish is always awesome. I'll never forget him throwing Randy off from the RKO. That's always that's one of those picturesque moments of wrestling stuck in my head when he throws Randy off in the final desperate RKO attempt. World's Strongest Slam, the second time. Matt, ref's hand, hits the mat at 3. The reaction, just a splendid piece of business. And what would spark, honestly, the most interesting run of a champion in WWE, and probably for the entirety of the early 2010s, right? I don't know if anything was more interesting than that.
Yeah. So fresh, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so fresh.
It's just and then the Big Show return and the Big Show matches were good, and the Daniel Bryan match, the cage match on that special episode of SmackDown was excellent. That's a great match, an incredible TV match. All that stuff was just so damn good, and I know I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit. Unfortunately, he gets banged up again, and ends up getting thrown into the Team Teddy, Team Johnny. Very well built Team Teddy, Team Johnny, might I add. My favorite build going into WrestleMania 28. I like to point out to Pop Contrarian Alex all the time. But
my biggest regret of that weekend is not getting the red Team Johnny shirt, which now, of course, I couldn't wear. But there was a point in time where it could have popped some folks.
I love the way you phrased that. Made it sound like that was a current regret rather than saying previously.
What was his injury? I guess I'm trying to remember what happened.
He was banged up. I can't remember what it was. He was around. He couldn't.
Yeah, he's not on as much. He obviously draws spots to Bryan. He does the rematch and that stuff, the freeway and all that, and then he goes to Raw and he just kind of chills out for a little bit while he resets physically.
Mm-hmm.
He does the
Punk feud after Mania is awesome on TV. I like it even more than Don't Have an Act. That feud is awesome.
He does the Team Johnny thing. He then has a TV program with Punk where they have a couple matches, which Oracle just mentioned. And then he has to have a surgery, which I don't know what he had, but he said it was career threatening. So he is, to be fair to Dave's prior point, as much as the 40 years old thing sounds hilarious now, he definitely had a lot of injury problems, right? No question. He was beat up.
But as far as obviously 28 was Cena and Rock, but as far as the title program goes, because I had never even thought of that, the streak title thing is interesting. Do we know? I guess it's so long ago. I assume at that point they already knew Sheamus was what they were going to go with, and so it didn't really matter how they got there. I don't know.
I mean, Sheamus and Bryan being traded in for would have been interesting, wouldn't it? See how much heat he had compared to 06 would have been interesting, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I'd never even thought of it. The Big Show matches, I think it's fair to say, did a lot for their reputation among the hardcore fan, right? Because they had really good matches together. When, generally speaking, two bigs ain't always the best actual match, right? It's a spectacle, but they had matches.
The Survivor Series match where Big Show did the Randy Savage elbows, the one I remember. That was nuts.
They did the ring break spot on one of those deals.
2011.
Yep.
Just 2011. They did, even then they did some creative stuff. They don't have the guts to do even now, which is crazy. But like, they did that, and then they had a fucking Last Man Standing with Cena and Del Rio that was so unique because they worked it with the collapsed ring. Yeah, remember? Yeah.
Matt called it out. I forgot about that. Brian announced like around SummerSlam that he was gonna cash in, like he was gonna wrestle whoever the champion was. I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, to be honest, I didn't think they had any idea where they were going. But like when Dave wrote that, I didn't think they had any idea what the Mania match was. Do you?
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Fun fact: the show is a TLC that year where Brian cashes in and wins the title. The DVD bonus feature was an exclusive interview with Daniel Bryan after cashing in, and he spent it talking about his time in PWG and Ring of Honor and thanking all the people that followed him since then.
That rules. After surgery, he returns in early 2013. Another big chunk of time lost. He enters the Elimination Chamber. He has a program with Ryback, who they work WrestleMania together. And originally Ryback was set for Jericho at Mania, and they do the Dango thing, and so this like just sort of happens. And I remember it being a pretty big surprise that Mark Henry wins that match. You know, that looked on paper to most of it to be like Ryback gets a win at Mania, and he did not. It was a Mark Henry win, which then led to another Sheamus program. They had a strap match on pay-per-view. Oracle, do you have any memory of this Mark Henry Sheamus strap match? Because I was stunned when I read this earlier.
So the TV build for it's actually pretty good, and then the match itself is just not that good. It's not awful. It's just like it's subpar for those two. I just remember being pretty disappointed by it. That was a weird period for that first half of 2013 before we get to the Cena program, where like he comes back, destroys Ray, he has a really good performance in the Chamber.
He like dominates.
Yeah, he's awesome in that match. Like awesome. And the Ryback feud was so weird because like Ryback, I mean, now it's kind of laugh out loud because obviously his presence on social media is.
He was a big deal though.
Kind of,
yeah.
But like that 6-month period from like when he lost to Punk the way that he did it at Hell in a Cell 2012 until he turned heel on Cena after Mania was like the worst 6 months anyone could ever possibly be booked. Like he just got like, obviously, I mean that like, you know, it's incredibly difficult to replicate Bill Goldberg, right? Like that's an extremely difficult thing to do.
Right.
It's kind of a flash in the, you know, it's kind of a lightning in a bottle thing, but it was
legit popped a buy rate in that match with Punk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, it did. Yep. It did a really good one, and the ending was just awful.
Yeah.
It reminds me of another phone call from my brother explaining how it was like, because at that point I was watching the shows and he just like ripped it to shreds and called it like the worst ending. He was just like classic embellishment from him, but at the same time he was also not wrong. Just like it was really bad. And I was super excited for the Ryback match because I was like, oh, cool. And like, I mean, I figured Mark Henry would put him over, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember watching WrestleMania 29 at my parents and being like, oh, fuck, Mark Henry actually won the match. Like, why? But like, this rules. Didn't make any sense, but.
Dude, the first half of 2013 WWE is so weird. Like, the Shield matches are awesome, and then everything else is just really fucking weird.
It's so bizarre. Like, they have, like, Brad Maddox and Vicky Guerrero are still around, and, like, it's, you know, doing, like, the GM stuff, and, like.
Dango just gets, like, a mega push for 2 months.
That's right, yeah. The Jericho feud, yeah.
Like, for Ryback, he must be. I mean, look, we have fun with Jericho.
Bully Ryback was awesome though when after the Cena program, and he just became like, dude, I don't care. Bully Ryback segments were like that shit like guilty pleasure.
Got Ricky Starks on WWF television, so
yep.
That's right. He was one of those guys, yeah.
He was absolutely Ryback would have been beating Jericho at Mania right before they switched to the Dango idea. Like, what an absolute horrific fucking change of fortune for for Ryback.
And even as like bad as his booking was, and I know this isn't Grin Grappler Ryback, like the 6-man at TLC 2012, that Shield versus Hell No and fucking Ryback, that match was incredible.
Yes.
And then I was there at the 20th anniversary Raw where they did like that segment where Mick Foley came out and then the Shield was going to jump him and Ryback made the save. People still were like hungry for that dude, but they just kind of like he was definitely like a Vince like shiny toy that he lost interest with real quick.
Mhm.
But anyway, the finish of that match is hilarious because he goes for the shell shock and he just drops him and Mark Henry falls on top of him. It's great.
That's right, yeah. Hilarious stadium finish, insane. He then, after the strap match, says he's going home and uses Twitter to tease retirement and emerges for the angle in which he goes...
Hell of a blazer.
Yes, indeed. And, man, this is, the hardcore fan mentioned that like kind of came around to the Hall of Pain. This is where the thing that actually makes him like a huge hit in that domain, right? This is like an iconic thing for him. And I would go as far to say, and guys, tell me if I'm off base here, I kind of think this is like the thing people remember him most for, to be honest. This segment, the fake retirement, and just an all-time Mark Henry performance on the microphone, which speaks to the development in that regard that Oracle referenced earlier. And it leads to our final match to discuss. Before we get to that, Oracle, what a segment, and really something that people I think will remember and reference forever. When anytime someone tries to run it back, they go, "Oh, he's doing a Mark Henry, right?"
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is the best angle they did. This was like the best angle, other than maybe like the initial, like 2 weeks of Summer of Punk. It's like the best angle they did, and God, I don't know, so long, because it was such an old school angle too. It's just so perfect. I remember being on message boards at the time and just everybody just going crazy for it, losing their minds, and at this point, Cena and Henry was like a hardcore message board dream match, So like this was like a wet dream come true, basically. But yeah, just an amazing angle, amazing promo. Gosh, just to build up to this, like this, the whole like he was back there for a little bit, man. That month he was back,
Yeah. And that's the sad part about it is like this is basically the end of that version of him. Actually, not even basically, it is because of what happens right after.
Because afterwards he cuts like a more sincere, like actual babyface promo. The night after, and the Shield attack him, and he turns face.
The night after, that's crazy, right?
Yep,
So this
the
is
night
like
after Money in the Bank. Yep.
This is basically the last stand for this version of him. It's a pretty memorable deal. He receives a huge pop from the Philly crowd, which speaks to what you just mentioned about that kind of shifting perception of him. Man, I miss this. Like, Philly crowds aren't like this anymore. And it ain't just an WWE thing. Like, AEW and Philly don't have great crowds either. Like, they're a lot more... I don't know why. It's interesting. This atmosphere is amazing. We all roll our eyes at the whole Cena thing of like, love him, hate him, he gets reaction. It does create an amazing feel for his big matches. It just does. I do think in this case, as much as I like this match, it does have an impact on the match in terms of when Mark's getting heat, because it is such a split crowd, right? It's like you don't get a huge... They're with Cena, the people that like him, but there's also a lot of people that are just like, yeah, keep beating him up, Mark, which, somewhat hurts the David vs. Goliath element to it. But this is still pretty powerful piece of business. Bobby, Money in the Bank, January 14th, 2013. What say you?
Yeah, incredible stuff. Obviously the promo to set it up is an all-time Raw segment. And then, they kind of lay this match out similarly to the Orton one, at least in the early goings, where, Mark Henry's just kicking the shit out of him most of the time. And, Cena, I liked when he went for the FU and he couldn't get it, just collapsed, because he's so heavy and he's so worn out. And then he finally hits one and it clearly took everything he had. Then Mark just kicks out anyway. I like bringing the chair for the distraction so he can get the turnbuckle cover off. I thought that's very good. And then, yeah, I mean, Cena knowing that the STFU or the FU can't put him away, he's got to do the STFU. It's good stuff. It's great stuff. And I'm really glad that, after all we've talked about, and this is, almost 15 years in for him, or actually more than 15, it's almost 20 in for him. Mark finally got a moment for, the main title. The World Heavyweight Championship has always kind of been whatever, but this is the real title. And it's just really cool that he got that.
I know it was very debated that he didn't win, and like I actually agree they probably should have just done it and see what happens, because he could have just won it back. But I actually really do like this point of like when we talk about why Cody's finishes are so insane. Cody doesn't ever have just like one and done challenges, dude. Like all of his programs are like extended, elaborate, 4-match things. Like sometimes you need to just beat a guy.
Program was just dreadful.
Sometimes you need to just beat a guy with your finish, right? Like, as much as and again, I know the finish of this wasn't a popular one, but I'm just saying, like, it's a chance for John Cena to beat a guy. So we said for that.
This concept is the thing Jim Cornette clings to of why Vince Russo cost the WWF $5 million, because they were going to do a pay-per-view with Dr. Death, one-off Dr. Death Steve Austin match, but yeah, this is, I made the Steve Austin had a bunch of one-offs. John Cena, dude, if you go look at all John Cena's title challengers, all the dudes he just went through, like on random pay-per-views and stuff.
Yeah,
he had that one match with Khali. Sometimes you beat a guy and that's it, dude. Like that's So
absolutely, Alex, will stay with you. Thoughts on this one, mate?
Yeah, Bob called out too that this was for the belt. Curious if Mark had won it and then lost it in 9 days, if the internet would have been favorable to the reaction. This is very good. John Cena, trying to think of the most polite way. You will never see Roman Reigns have a match like this, is what I will say, where he allows someone to take this much and like has to win by the skin of his teeth.
Not anymore, definitely.
Yes, correct. Maybe at one point. Well, he has had those matches before, but I guess that's the whole point. Like Cena this far into his run and like just making everything fucking Henry did look just devastating. By the way, Oracle, this is a really like great show. Money in the Bank 2013.
It is a great show.
Yeah,
that summer run, Payback, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam. Wow.
Oh, dude, yeah. Payback's phenomenal.
Shockingly great run, like all-time great run for like in that year. Like what the fuck? Like by that point, it's like, why is it this good?
Yeah, and SummerSlam's incredible. But yeah, like you're talking about the Philly crowd, like they're really hot for Ziggler on this. Ambrose gets a huge reaction in his Money in the Bank match. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't. It also comes from a place of like violence, of wanting to see these guys like beat up another dude, and those crowds just don't really exist in wrestling anymore. Like there's not. I don't know. I might be talking out of turn. It doesn't feel like there's any current wrestling market that wants to see someone get beat up. Like they want to see.
Yeah.
Even with our top heels of the current day, and we love Max, I don't know how many people are paying to see him get beat up versus like a good match, which is that's not to say anything of the talent. It's just the fan dynamic has changed a lot.
It was most notable when he did the match with Mystico in Mexico. It was like, oh yeah, this is different. The way they react is different.
Yeah. But Cena's phenomenal in this. There's the part where he, off of an attempted slam, does that tornado DDT, which looks great. And there's aesthetically, when he hits the first attitude adjustment on Mark Henry, I guess the camera might have been like on the bottom rope, whatever the case. When he hits, the reverb or like the rebound of the mat makes the camera shake. So, it looks very cinematic. Great stuff. And Cena, yeah, like I said, he wins this match by the skin of his teeth, and wins it in the very Cena way of, Cena years after this would become the guy of, okay, now I'm going to try Code Red. Okay, well, now I'm going to try a top rope attitude adjustment. He would try, but this is just him. I have two moves, and I'm just going to keep doing them to you until I beat you. And it works really well in this match. And who doesn't love the big guy catching the off the crossbody when he comes down and he just snatches him out of the air for the world's strongest slam. I mean, everything about this is great. The crowd reaction on the finish is kind of, this is definitely at the peak of, oh my God, Cena won again, which is what made the finish of SummerSlam 2013 so shocking. But yeah, this is wonderful. This is great stuff. I don't like it as much as the Orton match, but I think this is,
Right.
You can make the argument that off a segment that good and the reception and reaction to it might have called an audible and,
Yeah.
had Mark Henry win here and figure something else out. But the match we ended up with was great.
It was, and to your point, it's an interesting comparison to the All match because it is in line with who Cena is. It's definitely a more theatrical cut, right? It's a more
Yes.
Cena does a fabulous job selling for his comeback, but Cena's selling is just inherently different.
He's
to
still
Randy's.
Cena, yes.
Yes, exactly. But to their credit, that does give them. They have some major league false finishes down the stretches where the people are like losing it. Which is something that, we all like Mark Henry, but I don't know how many matches have this level of drama late in his career, to be honest. They really are biting on the false finishes in this one. Oracle, I know you're very, very fond of this match, mate.
Oh yeah. This is another classic one. The spot that always gets me is and Cena's done it many times with Big Show and others, Khali even I think as well, but the spot where he goes for the first attitude adjustment and collapses is amazing. Love that spot, always have, always will. Yeah, this is just great stuff. It's like Cena's trying to hit his big moves and he can't do it, and Mark is just hovering over him, beating the snot out of him, wearing him down. The big build to the final SDF is great. Huge drama down the stretch, like you pointed out. Great near falls. Crowd's great. People weren't thrilled with the finish. I wasn't either. But there were more people at the time that were more mad than I was, but I wasn't thrilled. I think they probably could have gotten away with a 8-day title reign.
I think what made it harder to do was they knew where they were going with Brock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Cena's bulletproof, but it probably would have took the edge off what Brock does, right? If he dropped it and won it back. Like, it just... I don't know. Like, I think the Brock thing works because he's Superman. Does that make sense? Like, so I do get it. But I also do wonder if they could have just kind of... It's difficult to say. Maybe they could have done Mark Henry and Brock Lesnar. Maybe they could have done that.
Yep.
I don't know. But certainly an interesting conversation. Nonetheless, a terrific match. And our final match will, finish the story here, if you will. Oh, 2013. My bad. I'm getting my years mixed up. Who does he work at 2013? Oh, Brian.
Even Brian, though, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you can, because he puts Brian over clean.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think you kind of just had to do this how it was.
Mark Henry and Brian again could have been a thing. It wouldn't have been the SummerSlam main event, would it? Yeah.
No, but
I don't know.
then Punk and Brock could have been the main event then.
Could have. It's interesting. I'm just thinking, like, it would be nice for Mark Henry to win here, but I do think Cena losing right before he puts over Brian clean probably would have slightly took the edge off. And not a ton, because it's a babyface, right? But
yeah, because that Brian thing was like a moment when it happened.
Him being him clean with his finish was like crazy.
Yes.
Crazy. It wasn't even a finish at the time, right? It was like, that was
This
just
first time we ever busted it out, it was nuts.
insane, dude. Like, and I'm not saying it still would have mattered if Mark Henry beat him with a World Strongest Slam, but I don't really think, I get why they didn't want to do that. So the next night, as was mentioned earlier, he turns babyface, he works the Shield, he goes home for a bit, and this was the one earlier I mentioned, this when he returns with the bald head. I have no recollection of this. In the middle of Survivor Series 2013, when he's doing the bully gimmick of all things, Ryback emerges in the midst of, like, a panel. It's like Booker T, Bret Hart, and Jerry Lawler are part of the panel for Survivor Series, and Ryback just comes out, and he's like, I now will do an open challenge. And Mark Henry comes out, and they have a 4-minute match, and he just beats him. But it's like, they have a real match, like, 4 minutes sounds, but for them guys, they actually, like, go back and forth, and It's very strange. The crowd doesn't really know what to do. They like Mark Henry. They're happy to see him, but it's... And it has to be said, it's very apparent Mark is in a different place physically at this time. JBL greets the bald head on, if you will, and one of the announcers yell, "He looks like Rick Ross," which, great stuff.
Survivor Series 2013 is one of the most bafflingly awful WWF pay-per-views you'll ever see.
Is that the Big Show Orton one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When they give Big Show the yes chant to try to get the heat off of Brian.
And that's basically just what he does the next year. He just kind of floats around. He pops up, works for guys a one-off. He's by this point, is emerging as a real Dre regular, especially the following year and beyond. He's a real staple of the Dre. But before that, he does take a small part. He turns on the Big Show, as mentioned by Oracle earlier, and he takes a small part in Survivor Series 2014, which is, I think, the definitive Ziggler match. Right? That's like the Dolph Ziggler match. Maybe the Miz match, but the Miz match is
incredible.
Wow. Yeah. He's literally just runs into a punch in that match, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe. He just runs into Big Show's punch in the 2014 Survivor Series, and then, yeah.
He does.
Joe, he didn't win a Dre, did he?
Man, the winners are so decorated, but I don't think so.
I was
about to say, all right, can we do the Dre winners, the panel here? Cesaro.
Big Show. Corbin.
Corbs.
Yeah.
No. Is it Braun?
Braun, I think, won the one I was at, yeah, because he did the Colin Jost thing.
That's 2019, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
2018 was Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt? Because one of them comes back to help the other.
Okay.
Who wins it in 2017 though?
Oh God, that's right.
Yeah.
Donnie, it was Mojo because they had fucking Gronkowski get in the ring.
Excellent.
Jesus.
After that, the Dre becomes a SmackDown thing, doesn't it? Then it's going to get difficult. I know Jey Uso won it. I know Bronson Reed won it.
Lashley.
Yes, Lashley won it and then came out with the trophy.
Yeah, he came out in LA with the trophy.
And when I was there, Mel Hayes won it.
Didn't fucking Royce Keys win it this year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We had Braun. Bob was there. You said that, right? Or did I imagine that?
Yeah.
I just fucking imagined. I just imagined Bob referencing Braun Strowman. That scared the shit out of me. I don't. Madcap Moss, I have no.
So at this point, what we're trying to say is Mark Henry easily could have won it.
Should have won it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could still time, right? It's the Dre. You never could win a Dre.
It is the Dre. You never know.
There's no qualification process for the Dre. You just bring it to Tonka, just brought his gear and he was in it.
Thinking he was going to get a singles entrance.
He did, exactly. And it has to be said, we love Mark Henry, but he does make an infamous cameo in the 2015 Chamber match for the IC strap.
Oh, baby.
Where his pod breaks on accident, and he's made it clear over the last 2.5 hours we love Mark Henry. His inability to adjust to that moment is a historic thing. He legitimately has no clue what to do, and it's fucking awesome. He's kind of just feeling it out in real time. He's sort of walking sideways, like Scott Hall walking around, and Ziggler's just screaming, clothesline, please.
Ziggler has to hold a fucking booking meeting in the middle of that match.
Yes.
For being at that show in the majesty of Cena versus Kevin Owens, I also experienced that match live.
Which we have a lot of fun with the new guys of today, not being able to call it on the fly. Not all the guys of yesteryear were good at calling on the fly, because Ziggler is holding people's hands in that match, dude. It's crazy to see. I wanted to note this. See this. Oracle would remember this, but I don't know if you guys will. Because I couldn't believe it. 2016 Royal Rumble pre-show. Mark Henry and Jack Swagger defeated The Ascension, the Dudleys, Damian Sandow and Darren Young, that was a team, Damian Sandow and Darren Young, to earn their spots in the 2016 Rumble.
My God.
Sure.
He is drafted to Raw when the draft returns. And he teases a Hall of Pain reboot and says he still has some left in the tank, and I think Mick Foley gives a match to Rusev and he loses, which is sad. And then he goes in the Hall of Fame, which I was there for, and was mostly a very good speech with some exceptions. Yes, Trent.
He's in the 2017 Rumble because that was the one in the Alamo Dome where they had the golf cart for the big guys. I remember like Big E's thing was he took that as them telling him he was fat, that he had to take the golf cart down to the ring.
And then, mere weeks after the Hall of Fame induction, he has his final match, entering the Greatest Royal Rumble. And we'll do the rest of this after. But before we go any further, any other matches from this third act want to call out? The Big Show stuff, the O'Brien stuff, the Sheamus stuff we've talked about. Bobby, anything else that hasn't come up over the last 40 minutes or so?
No, I don't think so.
That's a good match, a good TV match with KO after Owens got on the main roster and they're trying to build him up, and he fucking gives Henry the pop-up powerbomb. Crazy.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that, yeah.
And then also, I was live for this because I'm such a sucker, well documented for this type of shit. The good Santa versus bad Santa match he had with Sandow, the Battle for Christmas on the Christmas 2013 installment of Monday Night Raw. That shit to me is so fun. Yeah, that's other than that, yeah, not much.
So it's strange. Like he has a bunch of stuff post wrestling. So one of the things about him that's I would say is kind of understated, Bobby, and it came out earlier, is like he's recruited folks, right? And
yeah,
I don't really know how I say this. There are things I hear about Mark Henry and hear him say that make me think, wow, holy shit, he said that into a microphone. Still, he does it often, with respect. But then you'll hear other things about him that make him sound like quite brilliant in his own regard. You know what I'm saying? Like he's an interesting cat in that regard, right? Like Bianca Belair, I believe, was his recruit, right?
She was, yeah, that is correct.
Yeah. And Braun, maybe?
Let me see.
Yeah, why you put? But Bob, you get what I'm saying here, right? Like,
yeah.
Sometimes Mark says stuff, and it's like he don't need to be having a job in an office for pro wrestling. But in other times, it's like he does some pretty awesome stuff. So who knows?
Yeah, I think he
yes,
he found Jade too, I believe.
Like for a first tryout.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Before Bobby goes any further, Oracle, do you have any matches you want to call out from the final act of his career? We mentioned like the stuff that came up earlier, but
so I really love the build to the first Rusev match. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The match itself is not that good. I think at that point, Mark is clearly like pretty worn down by late 2014. But the build is fucking awesome. They have a couple matches. They have the pay-per-view match, and then I think the next night on Raw they have another one where I think like Rusev like makes Mark Henry pass out to the accolade. But yeah, that feud just like as an overall package fucking rules, and is like to me is like the last like that's the last big highlight other than when he comes out at the Rumble 17 to a massive pop, which was really cool.
I gotta find that pop because I don't remember that. I remember that Rumble being good though. Am I right?
It's great. Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know this Brian story. Do you know
that's something I remember too. Is I think might have flubbed the numbers or not the numbers, but the stats about he had never been here before. Also, because Brian had that contract in 2000 with the WWF, and Brian's talked about that before. He did something to like get him past the gates, so to speak.
Godly. And this AEW is now 7 years old, which I think we're all uncomfortable with. But I have to say, the Mark Henry run is like actually one of the more bizarre AEW things that happened and just came and went. Like he shows up at Double or Nothing 2021, and he's like introduced by the Big Show. And the immediate thought everyone had watching this, whether they admit it or not, is, oh my God, he's going to wrestle. When can I see him versus Eddie Kingston? But then he's like, he just hangs around, and then he's part of the Rampage team. And again, we love Mark Henry. Initially, they intend to have him on commentary, and he is among the worst commentators in the history of wrestling on record, respectfully. Like, was like unbelievably bad at it. So
Rob Bartlett, Mark Henry.
So then he his bit of his time at the main event just becomes his whole gimmick.
Yep.
So, and Oracle, tell me on my base here. You would only see him on television when he said it's time for the main event, right? That's the only time you'd see him.
For the main event.
Right. So, in the meantime, we're all like, he's doing stuff behind the scenes, and he was to an extent, but then when his deal came up, it like, he was done, and he like, I guess he just won't no one listen to him.
When did he leave?
He had a 3-year deal and completed it, bro. And
Left in the summer of 24, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
But like, if you ask me what he did, I'd be like, he said it's time for the main event every Friday for 3 years. But like, haven't heard anything about like he did this backstage. He just was around, and apparently no one like spoke to him or asked him anything, or no one listened to him. I don't know. That's what he said. To be clear, I mean, I'm sure that, you know how the guys can be, but because do you remember Bobby when he left? He said stuff like that, right? Like he was like,
Yeah.
he kind of criticized the culture. Yeah.
Didn't really value his input on stuff and things like that, which...
Was that the Big Show show? The Big Show show?
Yes, he was on that.
Oh
He was
my
on
God,
that.
the
Yeah.
Big Show show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And again, I want to be clear. I don't know.
Look
I haven't
at
heard any
Alex's
personal.
face.
I haven't heard any personal stories about people. Like it's just what he said, and he then he went back to WWE. He got sent a Christmas card, which made him very emotional, and he's a legend again. And he was very emotional about that. I mean, he was. I didn't ask him to post about it. And I do have an update. He has got a new Legends figure as a result of his new Legends deal, which I have to say is pretty fucking awesome.
Oh, nice.
I have
Cool as
I have an
fuck.
update also, Joe, on
Yes.
Mark Henry's figures. Please
Yes.
consult what I just said.
Okay, while I do this, is this the one? Oh my god, okay, you guys talk among yourselves. Hang on a second. Let me sharing with the family here. Hang on a second. All right. We have two to share. So we have this from Contrarian Alex, which Oracle actually may be able to give us an explanation on, which is why we love having the Oracle of Wrestling here, among many other things. We have a 2-pack here with Trent Beretta.
Oh, baby.
Now, it has to be said, it sounds like they'd have a hell of a match, right? But, I mean, did they ever wrestle, Oracle?
My guess is so the Dude Busters were a unit there in the World Wrestling Federation in 2011.
God bless.
Trent
Yeah.
Beretta and Kalen Croft. And I believe Trent was one of the many victims of the Hall of Pain.
It's here first time in the line for Trent. Maybe last time too. I don't know. I don't know how many figures he had.
Yeah, I love that this is a thing. I never knew this.
Yes, I need to buy this for Oracle. In addition, let's just put a bow on this because you mentioned it earlier. The worst figure in the history of wrestling, 2009 release of Mark Henry, in which nearing the end of their licensing with WWE, Jax just went, "Fuck it, that will do." Look at that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And what's great about that is he's like, it's not even like he had elaborate singlets that would be hard to paint. Like, they could have just given him a black singlet, right? And it would have been fine. Like, you wouldn't have looked good, but it would look fine. Like, look at that.
Just
They-
a big
they
old
st-
baby.
Alex, we don't talk about enough. They did like protest figures at the end of their run with WWE where they're just like, fuck them. Just make
Yeah.
the worst figures we can make.
Yeah, that's another Hawkins thing. Anytime someone complains about the accessories that Jax figures came with, he's just like, "That's just fucking Jax, dude."
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Accessory is one thing. It would be nice if he had some gear.
That's true.
But yeah, he's a WWE legend again, and good for him, I say, You
gotta wonder if anyone has that Beretta fucking Henry 2-pack signed by both of them.
Oh my god, that's a great thing for out in the universe. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know Mark does say some very silly things on Busted Open, but who doesn't really at this point?
Yeah,
I've always got the sense that he seems to be a pretty nice fellow. I'm aware he's said some pretty outlandish things about professional wrestling, but on this show, who are we to blame anyone for that? I like him. What about you, fellas? Any final thoughts, Bobby, on Mark Henry? Anything on the legacy of Mark Henry?
No, yeah, I like him too. I think he seems nice, seems like a fun guy to be around. Good scout. Had some good matches as we saw here today.
Good scout.
Yeah, you know, yeah, it's good that, you know, it came up in the chat in the first like 15 minutes. Like, there's not ever going to be another example where they give a guy 10 years of runway before, finally actually going all in with him. And, I think it's cool. He's kind of unique like that.
Yeah. He's one of the great pro wrestling comeback stories, right? In the sense that he come back from seemingly the end of the road and made himself a legitimate Hall of Fame that people like and revere, and the Hall of Pain and all that good stuff. And I think he's also an example that, every wrestler has to run their own race, right?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't his job to be Kurt Angle, Matt. It wasn't his job to be Ray. He had to find Mark Henry. That's who he had to be, right? He had to be the best version of Mark Henry, and ultimately that was enough to make him world champion. But I think his version of Monster was distinct to him. And there's something beautiful about that. He was never Vader, and he didn't have to be, right? He was awesome in his own way, and he had himself a really impressive career. Oracle, one of your favorites, I know. Any final thoughts
Oh yeah,
on Mark Henry?
I'll always will have a bright spot, to think about when it comes to Mark Henry and his, 08 to 2013 or so run. Became one of my all-time favorites in those 5 years or so. Just the complete package as a monster heel. A lot more good matches than you would realize, and a handful of classics at that. Just a really great overall pro wrestler. Did take him a while to get there. A lot of pit stops and injuries and restarts and repushes and whatnot. But once he got there, he nailed it and became one of the best and most memorable wrestlers of the WWE in the 2010s. I think in terms of what people will go back and remember. I think we're starting to get that some. I've seen that some in our chat. People who were kids in the early 2010s. Who saw that, remember Mark Henry and
Yeah.
that heel run is something that's going to live with a lot of those fans who were kids at the time.
I most certainly agree. Alex, Texas own Mark Henry, any thoughts?
He would want to hook 'em horns if he was here. I've been thinking about, as y'all have been talking, how I want to encapsulate it, but I've just been thinking of a dude like wrestled Jerry Lawler, Terry Funk, Vader, Steve Austin, The Undertaker, John Cena, Randy Orton, Goldberg, Bryan Danielson and Kevin Owens, towards the tail end there. Like, it's not just like the golden or, the Attitude Era or the golden age of the turn of the millennium. Like, he also wrestled like contemporaries, Dolph Ziggler and shit like that. Trent Beretta. But, man, so a constant, no doubt, throughout the last 30 years of professional wrestling. And yeah, obviously an individual tale in that not so many people get the same opportunities, like the amount of time to get, the improvement and whatnot. I guess the difference is there's dudes who like have been around forever and given endless opportunities that just never got better around the wrestling business, Michael Cole. But Mark Henry became like a really great professional wrestler and someone who was like fucking awesome. Like once it all came together, and that is an example that's not exclusive to pro wrestling. It works in all sports and media and all walks of life as well. It's like all these fucking moving parts and all these things you have to line up like a Tetris board. But once it fucking snaps into place, it's like, there it is. That's it. And once he found specifically that Hall of Pain thing, it was great. Not to say he didn't do good things before that, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just like when everything came together, it was tremendous. And just for his resume alone, yeah, I think deserves the accolades he receives. And, he's kind of tied to the hip with Big Show in a lot of ways. And I was trying to think, I might like, if someone said you can only have access to one of their match catalogs, I'd probably end up going with Mark Henry's match catalog over Big Show's.
It's difficult because I do think, oh, it's so hard, man. Because Show I think has more like across more years has good stuff,
Yeah.
but I think Mark's peak is probably the best of their peaks collectively, right? Most likely.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to just bring up the
No.
debate for no reason. They are like kind of joined at the hip in a lot of ways.
You meant it as a compliment to Mark's work because we like the Big
exactly.
Show, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we
It's the
do.
Big Show.
There's no BS here. We like
Well,
Yeah. And he's still in AEW. Still.
brother. But anyway, Mark Henry, a pretty interesting story when you get down to it. He's also in MacGruber, so that's a big feather in his cap. But yeah, it's interesting to me that I guess the person in their 20s now who Hall of Pain was their childhood, and they don't know anything that exists beforehand because there's a lot of interesting lore and tale sprinkled in there. But without question, my closing thought is an extremely worthy entrant into the Grin Grappler pantheon.
He is the ultimate cliche of, the overnight success is actually someone who's been plucking away, playing their trade for years. That's Mark Henry to a T, right? Like it crept up on people. Oh my God, he's the world champion. But when you really look into it, you go underneath the hood, a million starts and, full stones, and he got there in the end. Very, very cool.
You could also say he embodies the "it takes a village."
Yeah, there you go. Right, lads, it is already July, but it's time to find out who our July Green Grappler will be. We have some modern picks, we have some retro picks. They're all. This is a strong month, but I picked out 6 that popped me. 2 men that won world titles in the month of June 2026. Sami Zayn. Hot right now. And a guy who didn't lose his title after 9 days, the current reigning and defending TNA World Champion, Nick Nemeth. Number 3, staying in the Joe Holbert Promotions domain, the Messiah of the Backbreaker, Roderick Strong.
Baby.
Number 4 is Robert Gibson's birthday month, Rock and Roll Express, on the board again. Number 5, Barry Windham, I have a personal favourite. And number 6, that I think would be very interesting from an Axe point of view, Sean Waltman, and all the names with which that would entail.
Wrestling Society X.
Oh my God.
So we've got Sammy, Ziggler, Roddy, Rock and Roll, Wyndham, and X-Pac 6. 1, 2, 3 kid. Whatever the fuck you want to call him. Sean
You're
Waltman.
dealing with the X Factor.
Indeed.
I got everything I ever wanted.
Bob O'Neill, we go you first every time. It's no different tonight. Who are you thinking?
Those are 6 very good options. I don't have a problem with any of them. My gut is Waltman.
Yeah. He's an interesting one, isn't he?
Mhm.
Very, very interesting one. Alex, what say you?
Shit. Like my immediate reaction is Ziggler because we could put together a lineup of 6 fucking outstanding matches.
We could also
don't know.
get really crazy with like some Spirit Squad shit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you'd let me put my ADR match on there, so I don't know.
Yeah. That match is incredible.
Yeah. There's a lot we could do in that. We could do the Miz match also, but Barry Windham's good.
Fucking right he is.
Yeah. Do the Muda match, which I am a big defender of. Roddy's obviously incredible, but John Burr may dox all of us if we do that for the episode.
Sure, that's a good point. That's actually good. John wouldn't like a lot of these episodes, though. Maybe Rock and Roll.
Yeah, but
Rock and roll. Rock and roll.
It's weird, like
if we did Rock and Roll Express, we'd have to do all B-sides because, like, what are we gonna do? Like a bunch of Midnight Express shit? Like,
that's the It's they're not as
do the shitty Bulldogs match.
to young fans. They're not as obviously notable as like doing.
You can do some
fucking-
SMW, Rock and Roll. I mean, there's you could go.
We could do a new
Rock
Smokey,
and
do the
Roll
bodies, yeah.
Playbook there.
With Waltman, which is obviously a good choice because I think it's becoming evident how good he was to a lot of people now. But at the same time, we did the Sabu match. Did we do some other famous match of his?
I think we did
I don't
Action
know.
Zone.
We did Action Zone, yeah.
Yeah, Damn, you're talking me out of these.
I mean, we could do some fucking Global Force Jerry Lynn shit, and then
X Factor versus the Dudleys, Backlash 2001.
sure.
That match is good, by the way.
Of course, it's Dudley's match.
Yeah, I'd say Ziggler or Wyndham. I'm not opposed to any of these. I guess
The
is what I would
Ziggler
say.
Wyndham 1-2 punch, right? Oracle, what do you think?
I'm always down for Barry. I like the idea of always trying to knock out these
Yeah,
you know.
we have veered modern lately too.
I feel like you know what, I'm gonna go Barry.
Yeah,
Because I feel like, knocking out some old school would be good, and it would be the rock and rolls would be awesome, but I feel like Barry, it's a little bit easier to make a list.
I agree. I'm leaning Barry Windham. Bob, I don't want you to get mad. How do you feel about that?
We can do it. I believe he was on the Bob's Badness bracket because I was really into him when I started watching 1993 and he got hurt.
Yeah. He's amazing at the start of 93. I know, for his, it sucks. He gets injured. Yeah.
Famously, I think that's a Rob Naylor go-to anytime it gets mentioned. So there was some show where he was booked to wrestle Bret Hart, and it was right after or before he left, and the match didn't happen. But the Super Bowl Muda match would be my contribution, but I think we could definitely come up with a good lineup for Barons.
And we can get a West Texas Rednecks tag. Could we? Or would that be we might not be able to get one in there. Could we?
Well, maybe. Actually, I'm seeing about who's going to be in it. Hang on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because Barry was actually good in '99. That was his last good year. Because he was not good. It was like 3 years where he wasn't good.
Apparently, some of the indie stuff he does for Dusty in like 01 is like fun. Like for Turnbuckle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we'll figure it out. But Barry's got an amazing. I mean, his prime is like incredible. So yeah,
handsome man too.
Yep. Tremendous. Barry Windham is. We'll be back later this month. Bobby may be at the WWE House show. So our proposed date. I wanted to make that very public that Bob's going to the WWE House show. A proposed date of Thursday the 30th is up in the air somewhat. We'll do it before the end of the month, hopefully. Bob O'Neill, do you have any plugs?
I do not. I don't know when I'm going to be back. Are we starting our journey to Japan next week, or?
I'll get back to you. I need to work on the format. It's a little more difficult because I have to figure out what matches we're doing. Yeah.
And then I did think about maybe coming on for the Money in the Bank 2011 Grin Along, but I don't want to commit to it in case I don't show up.
Fair. What a pro.
Beast.
The Oracle of Wrestling. Anything you'd like to promote, my friend?
So, I will not be around this weekend. World Cup on. The next weekend, I will be on vacation, and then at the end of the weekend, World Cup on, and then. But that will be it. The 19th is when the World Cup ends, and I have already spoken to young Donnie about a potential project he and I have been. Chit-chatting about the last few months. We might begin that maybe at the end of this month or maybe going into August. So I won't announce that quite yet. I'll let him do that on his
Donald
show perhaps.
Yeah.
But just keep that in mind.
Dude, Oracle's talking to Donnie about a two-man booth. Shoot's talking to Donnie about a two-man booth. This kid's getting a fucking shove, bro. They never pushed Ryder like that, did they?
No, they didn't.
They pushed him off the fucking ramp by now, It's just crazy.
He's not like, you know what it's like with him? He's got a side headlock takeover like when Brett gives perfect one,
That's the best side takeover of all. Headlock takeover of all. It's a beauty. All right. Contrarian Alex, the Contrarians roars on even. What's the latest, brother? Tell us.
We're continuing on. We stockpiled a bunch of episodes because my good friend and co-host Julio is currently over in Europe on a summer vacation with his wife. So we've just been basically dropping things we recorded several years back. Most recently, 1999, extremely pretentious French art house film Romance a sexual thriller. On our Patreon, we just dropped our episode on Private Parts, the Howard Stern movie, which I lived my entire life thinking that movie was something different than it actually is. And so led to a very interesting discussion. And also the discovery that Vince McMahon wanted to bring in Howard Stern for WrestleMania at one point, but they had differences of opinion of how his character should be used. So a pretty fascinating discussion there. And then also for free to all patrons, you just got to sign up for it. Julio at the Matches continues this previous month. We talked about Vader versus Sting at Slamboree 94. Coming up next is Gunther versus Randy Orton from King of the Ring last year, which
Oh, wow.
won the poll, shockingly. And yeah, trying to kind of explain the machinations of a Gunther match to Julio is pretty fun. Yeah, man, Oracle, man, I fucked myself on this World Cup thing. When the tickets for the IMAX Odyssey went on sale, we kind of jumped on them without looking, and our tickets are for 3:30 in the afternoon on the 19th, the day of the finals. So, yeah, and it was my sister. We got like a group of tickets, and my sister's like, "Can't we just go to another time?" Like, you don't understand. These IMAX shows are all sold out. We're gonna have to get real creative with this. So we'll see what ends up happening.
That's
godly. The Oracle Wrestling is muted, sadly. He looked up.
Damn it, again. My vacation ends. That's when I'm leaving. I'm leaving at like noon, but luckily it's legitimately 40 minutes from where I live. So
nice.
I'll be able to be here, be back home or wherever I'm going to see the game in time. And I will be seeing the Odyssey on the 21st because we get Tuesday the cheap tickets. My buddies are going to go on Tuesday the 21st because Tuesday's cheap day because I'm poor.
I might have to be a total degenerate and have one earpiece in throughout the trailers just to see if I can get to the end of the game. We'll see what happens, though. Yeah, Christopher Nolan's back. It's officially summer, boys. We are thecontrarians.com, at Contrarian Prime across social media. Be sure to check it out. And yeah, stay tuned for what's to come next from the Grin Grappler and the Late Night Grin.
Yes, sir. Folks, please like the stream if you haven't already. Tomorrow, there is WCW Lives, and there's a Dynamite Grin Along for Collider's tier gold members. Big episode of Dynamite tomorrow. They're outdoors tomorrow.
Sweet.
I forget where. Somewhere in Florida. I'm also recording tomorrow with the soon-to-be returning to LNG Dax the Axe Harwood, which we're preparing to do one full sale summer, which is going to be very, very cool. Thursday, take over the end Grin Along, gearing up for one full sale summer. Manny the Hooper will be back for that. It'll be free. Friday night, the flagship, talking about the latest in pro wrestling, what I believe is going to be a double title change week. I think we're going to have CM Punk and Kenny Omega as world champions by the time that show rolls around, which is a crazy 2026 sentence that I just said, but
let's go.
I don't really have a problem with it either, so that gives you more an idea of how weird wrestling is now. It's pretty cool, actually. Saturday Night Graps, we're watching Collision and the New Japan Chicago show. That'll also be free. Sunday, back behind the paywall for Power Play, Donnie Loss, and I'll be joining them for Macho Man in Memphis 2. What a fucking week. What a time to be a grinner. Beautiful. All right, folks. Have a good one. Keep grinning. All hell. Enjoy this outro. Goodbye.